Hey everyone, welcome to Crash Course Anthropology, the study of humanity, our origins, our development, and our futures. We do that by exploring things like the cultures and histories of societies around the world, past and present. And one thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is jewelry. Those little shiny things we often wear on our body. Now, anthropologists have all sorts of ways of defining jewelry. For instance, it could be defined as anything intentionally put on the body for adornment or ornamentation. But humans don't just put on jewelry because we like the way it looks. We also wear it to symbolize something, to communicate something about ourselves, and to make a statement to others. Jewelry can also be thought of as something made through special skill, usually by hand, a crafted item intended to be worn on or carried by the body. Anthropologists define jewelry pretty broadly. It can include items made from expensive metals or stones, but also things like scarification and tattoo. We'll focus on jewelry as material objects in this episode. But keep in mind, there's more to the story. In fact, anthropologists are interested in jewelry because it's so meaningful and multi-layered. Wearing different jewelry can show people what social groups you belong to, like your family, ethnic group or religion, or display your personal style and taste. Some jewelry is made with precious materials that represent wealth or power. Other times people wear jewelry to connect to their cultural heritage or religious beliefs. And sometimes people just enjoy the way it looks or feels. When we look at jewelry through an anthropological lens, we ask questions like, how does this item reflect a culture? How does jewelry function in rituals or ceremonies? What does the design say about a society's worldview? And how has jewelry changed over time? Today, we're going to explore the many functions of jewelry and see how they've changed throughout history. Jewelry has served a variety of social functions across cultures throughout history. Like right now, let's say you want to go to a wedding. You might wear a ring or necklace or earrings that are special for the occasion, something that marks the significance of that event. In some cultures, jewelry plays a central role in important events like marriage. When a man proposes to his beloved, the woman may receive a ring as a symbol of her acceptance of his proposal, and later, both partners will wear jewelry to demonstrate that they are man and wife. Marriage is not the only social event where jewelry takes center stage. In some cultures, certain pieces of jewelry are used to mark coming of age. These objects signify the wearer's transition into adulthood and their new responsibilities within their community. Jewelry is also used to symbolize and reinforce social categories, which are groups of people who share similar characteristics. For example, some communities use jewelry to show which clan or family a person belongs to. Members of the Yanomami, an indigenous group in South America, wear nose ornaments that identify which clan they're from, and among the Ndembu, another indigenous group in South America, women wear lip plates, which are large discs made from clay or wood that are inserted into the lip to stretch it. These lip plates are not only a form of jewelry, but they're also symbols of beauty and a sign of a woman's readiness for marriage. Among the Hutterites, an old order Anabaptist group in the United States and Canada, men typically wear a plain wedding band after they marry. This ring signifies their commitment to lifelong fidelity. Among the Hutterites, extra ornaments are generally frowned upon because they can distract from the work at hand. However, wedding bands serve as a reminder of one's commitment to their partner and the vows they have taken. But jewelry doesn't always signify social categories. It can also communicate personal qualities. For example, the Dogon people of Mali in West Africa. Men and women wear ornaments made from indigo-dyed cotton and beads to show the number of important events they have participated in during their lives, such as initiations, marriages, and funerals. Each ornament tells the story of the wearer's life. In some cultures, jewelry serves a political function. For example, many world leaders and royalty wear ornaments as a symbol of their authority and power. Like today, the British monarch wears the imperial state crown for the state opening of Parliament, a ceremonial beginning of the new session, and Queen Elizabeth II wore a golden sovereign on a ribbon around her neck for many years. One side of the sovereign was engraved with the Queen's profile, and the other displayed the national emblem of England, a rose. This sovereign symbolized the Queen's connection to her people and her role as the head of state. Adornments can also be used to symbolize a person's religious beliefs. People of the Sikh faith, for example, must wear a turban at all times. It is considered mandatory to cover the head with a turban to symbolize equality, modesty, devotion, and service. Different colors have different meanings within the faith. Yellow is associated with royalty and justice. Blue represents freedom, and green symbolizes nature and Islam. Sikhs may also wear a kara, which is a steel bracelet worn on the dominant arm that serves as a reminder of their commitment to the faith. But jewelry isn't just about conveying messages to others. It can also be a way for the wearer to express themselves. Like when you wear a piece of jewelry, you're making a statement about who you are and what you value. It can be a way to explore and express your identity, interests, and values. Like maybe you love music and you wear a necklace with a guitar pendant, or you're really passionate about protecting the environment and you wear a bracelet made from recycled materials. Or maybe you just like the way it looks. Jewelry can be a way to tell a story without saying a word. It can be a conversation starter and a way to connect with other people who share your interests. And jewelry can also be an investment. Precious metals and gemstones can hold their value or increase in price over time. So a piece of jewelry can be a way to save and invest your money. It can also be a way to support artisans and craftspeople. Many pieces of jewelry are handmade and require skilled craftsmanship. By purchasing handmade jewelry, you're supporting the people who make it and helping to preserve traditional techniques. But remember, jewelry is more than just shiny objects. They're meaningful items that can tell a story, convey a message, or express an identity. Whether it's a simple necklace or an elaborate ring, each piece has a unique history and meaning. And when we take the time to understand that, we can appreciate the beauty and power of jewelry even more. The ancient Egyptians were known for their exquisite jewelry, which played a significant role in their society. They believed that jewelry had the power to protect the wearer from evil spirits and bring them good luck. Jewelry was also used to display wealth and power, with pharaohs and nobles wearing the finest materials and craftsmanship. Egyptians believed that jewelry could help preserve the body after death. They would encase mummies in gold leaf and decorate them with precious stones and amulets. In ancient Greece, jewelry was highly valued and was often seen as a symbol of wealth and status. Gold and silver jewelry was popular among the upper classes, and gemstones were often used to adorn their diadems, necklaces, and bracelets. Jewelry was also used in religious ceremonies and was believed to have protective powers. During the Middle Ages in Europe, jewelry styles changed significantly. During the Gothic period, for example, jewelry became more elaborate and ornate, often featuring pointed arches and intricate designs. Jewelry was also used to display religious symbols such as crosses and saints. In the 18th century, during the Rococo period, jewelry became lighter and more delicate, with pastel colors and floral patterns being popular. This style was influenced by the French court and was favored by the aristocracy. During the Victorian era in the 19th century, jewelry became more sentimental, with pieces often being passed down as heirlooms. Birthstones and lockets containing small keepsakes became popular. In the 20th century, jewelry styles continued to evolve. Art Deco jewelry, for example, featured geometric designs and bold colors. In the 1970s, chunky costume jewelry made from acrylic and other inexpensive materials became fashionable. Today, jewelry is worn by people of all social classes and is available in a wide range of styles and price points. It is considered a timeless accessory that can elevate any outfit and is often used to express personal style and taste. Thanks for watching this episode of Crash Course Anthropology, which was filmed at a studio and made in partnership with a digital studio and nature. You want to help keep Crash Course free for everyone forever? You can join our community on a crowdfunding platform. Have you ever wondered why humans adorn themselves with jewelry? Why do we wear it? And what does it say about us? What purpose does it serve? Anthropologists theorize that our love affair with adornment goes back to the dawn of humanity. We have evidence of prehistoric peoples adorning their bodies with jewelry made from animal teeth and bones and shells. So clearly it is an intrinsic part of human nature. But this is not the whole story. There are more reasons to wear ornaments than mere aesthetics or self-expression. Adornments often served as amulets against evil spirits or harmful sorcery, signified tribal unity, and for women in particular, communicated fertility. Today we will be exploring this by traveling back in time to the dawn of human history and discovering some of the earliest pieces of jewelry ever made. You won't believe how far back this goes. So let's dive in. The story of prehistoric adornment is difficult to tell because most of these objects were made from organic materials such as shells, bone, and teeth. And as you can imagine, they don't preserve in the archaeological record as well as stone or metal ornaments. For this reason, the oldest pieces of jewelry we have discovered are likely not the oldest pieces actually used. It's like trying to reconstruct the history of paper or fabric. If you only had access to objects made after the invention of plastic, you would never guess that textiles predate modern synthetic fabrics by thousands of years. The same thing goes for prehistoric jewelry. We know that early hominins, including Homo erectus, began using ornaments at least 40,000 years ago, because they have been found at sites inhabited by these species, but we also know that they didn't make these ornaments. They simply picked them up and used them. This is because the cognitive ability needed to conceive of an object as something other than its immediate function is a uniquely human trait. For example, a strand of beads might have first been a string of shells used for utilitarian purposes. But when a hominin decided that those shells should instead represent beauty or fertility or some other abstract concept, this signaled a fundamental shift in how the objects were perceived. Suddenly, they weren't just tools, they were imbued with special meaning and significance. In other words, they became jewelry. So the question becomes, when did Homo sapiens begin making ornaments? And what can these ornaments tell us about the societies that created them? The answer to the first question is surprisingly simple. It was around 75,000 years ago, because that is when the oldest known pieces of jewelry were crafted. These were a series of small perforated shells and ostrich eggshell beads discovered at the Blombos Cave in South Africa in 2008. At the time, scientists estimated that they were between 75,000 and 100,000 years old, which would have made them the oldest known piece of jewelry by a very long shot. However, more recent dating suggests that the beads may have been crafted as recently as 30,000 years ago, during the last glacial maximum. This makes them much younger than previously thought, but still the oldest undisputed pieces of jewelry known to science. But what makes these pieces so special? What makes them jewelry rather than some other type of ornament? To answer this question, let's look at another famous example. The Lion Man of the Hohensteinstadel Cave The Lion Man is a sculpture of a humanoid figure wearing a lion's head and tail carved from mammoth ivory in southern Germany around 40,000 years ago. The sculpture is remarkable, not only for its artistic merit, but also for the fact that it demonstrates an understanding of symbolism and abstraction. The artist did not simply carve a lion. He took aspects of the animal, such as the mane, paws, and whiskers, and abstracted them into a single symbolic form. This suggests a high level of cognitive ability and symbolic thinking. Now let's compare the Lion Man to the Blombos cave beads. The beads are simple, perforated shells strung together on a thread. At first glance, they don't seem to have any special meaning or significance. However, upon closer inspection, we can see that each bead has been carefully selected, and the holes drilled through them are not perfectly round. Instead, they are shaped to fit the specific shape of the shell. This suggests that the people who made the beads had a deep understanding of the natural world and the properties of different types of shells. They knew that a certain type of shell could only be strung in one way, and they took great care to ensure that each bead was drilled correctly. What's more, the beads were not found in a random assortment. Instead, they were found in a deliberate pattern. Each strand of beads had been carefully arranged before being tied together, suggesting that the people who made them understood the concept of order and symmetry. They wanted the beads to be not just beautiful, but beautiful in a specific and intentional way. Finally, the beads were not just worn as an ornament, they were worn as an amulet. The people who wore them believed that they had special powers or could protect them from harm. This is clear from the way that they were found, buried near the bodies of adult males, suggesting that they were worn during important rituals or ceremonies. Together, these clues tell us that the people who made the Blombos cave beads were highly skilled craftsmen with a deep understanding of the natural world. They were also highly imaginative and symbolic thinkers who understood that objects could represent more than just themselves. They could become something else entirely, something beautiful, powerful, or mysterious. So what does this mean for our understanding of prehistoric jewelry? It means that we need to stop thinking of it as a simple ornament and start thinking of it as a powerful symbol of human creativity and imagination. The Blombos cave beads were not just a pretty bauble, they were a carefully crafted object imbued with special meaning and significance. They were a way for prehistoric people to express their identity, beliefs, and values. This is even more clear when we look at other examples of prehistoric adornment, such as the Ishango bone. The Ishango bone is a baboon femur that has been perforated with holes along the length of its third longer side. The bone dates back 50,000 years and was discovered in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Like the Blombos beads, the Ishango bone is not just an ornament, it is a tool. Researchers have suggested that the holes were used to count during rituals or ceremonies. This would make the Ishango bone the oldest known piece of mathematical notation. These examples show that prehistoric people were not just passive wearers of jewelry. They were active creators who used adornment to express themselves and interact with the world around them. Jewelry was not just a way to look beautiful or ward off evil spirits. It was a way to communicate complex ideas and beliefs. Today, we have a tendency to think of jewelry as a static object, something that is designed to be worn for a single occasion and then put away forever. But jewelry has always been more than just an ornament. It is a powerful medium of expression, a way to communicate identity, beliefs, and values. The prehistoric peoples who made the Blombos cave beads and the Ishango bone understood this better than anyone. They used jewelry to express their creativity, their curiosity about the world, and their deep connection to the natural world. And we can learn a lot by studying these ancient traditions. So the next time you reach for your favorite necklace or bracelet, take a moment to appreciate the power of adornment. It has been a part of the human experience for thousands of years, and it can tell us a lot about the people who wear it and the societies that created it. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that you can keep learning about human history and culture. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be taking a look at jewelry from the ancient Near East. Now, when I think of jewelry from the ancient world, Egypt is usually what comes to mind. But today we're going to explore jewelry from Mesopotamia. And for those of you who may not know, Mesopotamia is the name given to the region in Western Asia between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. That is now modern-day Iraq, Kuwait and Turkey. This was the home of many empires, including the Akkadian Empire, Babylonian Empire, Assyrian Empire, Neo-Assyrian Empire, and last, but certainly not least, the Persian Empire. Now, there are so many different cultures and empires and kingdoms that existed here over such a long period of time. We're not going to be able to cover all of them, so today I want to focus on just one culture, and that is the Sumerians. The Sumerians were an ancient people who lived in southern Mesopotamia, starting in the 4th millennium BC. They are considered to be one of the oldest civilizations known to man, and they lasted for around 2 millennia. Sumerian city-states like your Uruk, Kish and Ishan are often credited as being the cradles of civilization because their innovations spread outwards to other Mesopotamian city-states and empires. Alright, let's get into it. For our first piece, we have this exquisite gold diadem with lapis lazuli and bronze inlay. It dates to around 2600 BC, and it would have been worn by a member of the royal court. It was found in the royal cemetery of the Sumerian city of Ur, which tells us that this type of headdress was likely reserved for kings or queens. Diadems were typically only worn by royalty or heads of religious orders. Because of the bright blue lapis lazuli, it was associated with the sky and the ocean. Lapis lazuli was originally mined in southwest Iran and then traded through Mesopotamia. It was highly prized since the Neolithic period and was used by many different cultures, including Egyptians, Chinese, Greeks, Romans, and more. The use of lapis lazuli in jewelry is still popular today. Gold was also extremely important to the Sumerians, and they believed that the sun was made of gold. Gold was used to make everything from small items of jewelry to large statues. Here we can see that the gold is being used alongside lapis lazuli and bronze to show the connection between heaven and earth. Gold was for the gods and the sky, while lapis lazuli was for the ocean and the earth. The contrast between these materials brings this piece together so well. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. For our next piece, we have a bull pendant made out of gold and lapis lazuli. This dates to roughly 2600 BC as well. It was discovered in the royal cemetery of Ur grave belonging to Queen Pobi, which gives us some insight as to what the jewelry of the royal Sumerian women looked like. Again, we have lapis lazuli being used here. Remember how I told you lapis lazuli was traded throughout Mesopotamia? Well, the Sumerians got their lapis lazuli from a place called Dilmun, which is thought to be Bahrain today. Queen Pobi's tomb was filled with lapis lazuli jewelry. She was buried alongside her husband, whose name was Mesgalandag, the last king of the 26th dynasty of Su. Her tomb also contained a number of exotic animals that were likely brought as tribute to her. Among these animals were Indian elephants and a rhinoceros. These animals were then immortalized in her tomb, with Queen Pobi being shown wearing jewelry and clothing decorated with images of them. She was also depicted with bulls, gazelles, and other animals. In general, it was very common to depict Sumerian rulers as divine beasts. Next, let's take a look at this gold ring, with a stepped design and a stamp seal impression. The ring dates to around 2600 BC and was found in a Sumerian burial site. Rings were often used as personal seals in the ancient world, and were sometimes even used instead of signatures. A ring like this would have been placed on a soft clay tablet to leave an imprint of the design. This ring features one of the oldest known examples of cuneiform writing. If you've watched my videos on ancient Egypt, you will remember that Egyptians also used a form of hieroglyphic writing called hieroglyphic. Writing in general is quite rare in the archaeological record from this time period. As you can imagine, creating each individual letter was a painstaking process, especially considering that the writing instrument of choice was a red stylus. This is why most writing from this period consists of just a few letters or signs. Now, I want to take a little detour from jewelry for a moment and talk about cylinder seals. Cylinder seals were commonly used by the Sumerians and other Mesopotamian cultures as a form of signature. The seal was made by carving a design into a cylinder of either wood or metal. The seal would then be rolled across a wet clay tablet to create an impression. The designs on the seals varied and often symbolized ownership or religious affiliation. Cylinder seals were not only used by the nobility, but also merchants and scribes. Here we have a stone cylinder seal that depicts the goddess Naya descending into the underworld. Next to her, we can see a human figure holding up his hands. There are also two male deities flanking her. One holds a flower and the other has an axe. While it's pretty easy to decipher what's going on in this seal, unfortunately, we don't have a clay tablet showing its impression. Okay, let's take another look at some jewelry. For this piece, we have a gold pendant in the shape of a bird. You may be familiar with the story of the Epic of Gilgamesh, which originated in Sumer. One of the main characters, Utnapishtim, is warned of an impending flood by a divine bird. The bird tells him to construct a boat so that he and his family and some animals can survive the flood. After the flood, Utnapishtim releases a dove, a swallow, and an owl. They come back to the boat, except the dove, which flies off and doesn't return. Then Utnapishtim sends out a red-winged eagle. This time the eagle does not come back, and this signifies that land has been found. The eagle can therefore be seen as a symbol of hope. It leads the survivors to dry land after the Great Flood. This pendant could possibly have been inspired by that story. The pendant dates to around 2600 BC and was discovered in the royal cemetery of Ur. This example is made of gold and lapis lazuli. During the time the Sumerians were creating pieces like these, they were among the earliest people known to have worked with gold. They developed new technologies to help extract gold from rock. They also invented the world's first crucible, which is a tool used for melting metals. Using these new technologies, the Sumerians created jewelry, vessels, and ornaments out of pure gold. This piece shows the impressive skills that the Sumerians had with working metals. And finally, let's take a look at this silver diadem band. It dates to roughly 1800 BC and was discovered near the ancient Sumerian city of Leg. This piece is unique because of the method by which it was made. At this point in history, the Sumerians were no longer a powerful force in the region. Their city-states had fallen to various Mesopotamian empires. During this time, silver was a more common material for diadems and crowns. To make this piece, the silversmith took thin sheets of silver and hammered them flat. They then cut the sheets into long strips and joined the ends together to form a circle. Each strip was then twisted individually and they were all soldered together. Finally, the edges of the bands were smoothed out. I really hope you enjoyed learning about some of the early jewelry from Mesopotamia. What did you think? Let me know down below in the comments. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Jewelry has always been an important part of human culture, expressing wealth, power, religion, and beauty across civilizations. Today we are going to take a trip back to ancient Egypt, where gold played a significant role in their lives, especially when it came to jewelry. Gold was considered the metal of the gods, symbolizing eternity and immortality. This is because gold does not tarnish and always shines brightly, just like the sun god. In ancient Egypt, both men and women wore gold jewelry made from pure gold or gold-plated base metals, but they also used other materials like precious stones, glass, and even wood. The Egyptians believed that these materials could enhance the powers of the gold and also represent certain values or beliefs. In this video, we will learn about 4 ancient Egyptian gold jewelry mistakes that people still make today, so watch till the end and let us know if you would dare to wear them now. Number 1. Amulets. Amulets are probably the most common type of ancient Egyptian jewelry found in tombs. These small charms were meant to protect the owner from evil spirits and bring them good luck in their everyday lives. Amulets come in all shapes and sizes, but some of the most popular ones were scarabs, which symbolized rebirth and good fortune. Which contained the name of a person or god written in hieroglyphics. And eye motifs, which represented health and protection against snake bites. These amulets were worn by people of all social classes, from pharaohs to slaves, and were often attached to necklaces, bracelets, or rings. They were also buried with the dead to protect them on their journey to the afterlife. But why do people still make the mistake of wearing amulets? One reason is that they look cool and unique. Scarab amulets, for example, have a distinctive shape and texture that set them apart from modern jewelry. Cartouche amulets can also be customized with your name or a meaningful quote in hieroglyphics. And eye amulets come in different colors and designs that suit any style. Another reason is that they have a mysterious and mystical vibe. Appeals to some people as fascination with ancient cultures and supernatural beliefs. Some people say that they feel more connected to their spiritual side or ancestors when they wear these amulets. And some people believe that they actually work as charms or talismans, bringing them good vibes and fortune. 2. Carnelian. Carnelian is a type of quartz that comes in different shades of orange and red. It is a very hard and durable stone, so it was easy to carve and polish into various shapes and designs. The Egyptians believed that carnelian could enhance the power of gold and make it more effective against evil spirits. They also associated carnelian with the god of the sun and the desert, and believed that it could protect travelers and warriors. So why do people still make the mistake of wearing carnelian? Well, first of all, carnelian is a very versatile gemstone that can be used in many types of jewelry. It can be cut into beads and made into bracelets or necklaces, or it can be carved into more intricate designs, like animals or hieroglyphics. It also goes well with many different metals and styles, so you can find something that suits your taste. Secondly, carnelian is a rare and valuable gemstone that can show off your wealth and sophistication. In fact, carnelian was one of the most expensive gemstones in ancient Egypt and was only accessible to the rich and powerful. Wearing carnelian jewelry is like having a piece of history on you, and it can be a conversation starter with other gem lovers. Finally, carnelian has some interesting properties that can benefit you in many ways. For example, carnelian is said to boost your energy and vitality and help you overcome stress and anxiety. It is also said to enhance your creativity and motivation and help you achieve your goals. Number 3. Faience was a type of glazed ceramic that was made from local materials such as quartz, lime, and nitron. It was then fired at high temperatures and coated with a shiny glaze that resembled precious materials like gold, silver, and lapis lazuli. The Egyptians loved faience because it was cheap and easy to produce in large quantities. It was also very durable and resistant to water and insects, so it could last for many years and be used in various objects and jewelry pieces. Why do people still make the mistake of wearing Well, faience has a lot of advantages that make it a great alternative to precious metals and stones. First of all, it has a unique look that sets it apart from other types of jewelry. The shiny glaze gives it a metallic appearance that mimics the luster of gold or silver, and the variety of colors allows you to choose from different shades and patterns that match your outfit or personality. Secondly, it is much more affordable than gold or silver, so it won't break the bank. You can find beautiful pieces of faience jewelry online or at local markets that won't cost you a fortune. Thirdly, faience is a sustainable and eco-friendly option for jewelry. Since it's made from common materials and doesn't require mining or smelting, it has a lower impact on the environment. By choosing faience, you're reducing your carbon footprint and helping to preserve natural resources. Finally, faience has a rich history that dates back thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians weren't the only ones who loved faience. The Mesopotamians, Greeks, and Romans also used it to make jewelry and other objects, wherein faience is like connecting yourself to a long tradition of craftsmanship and artistry that has lasted through time. And now for the final mistake that people still make when it comes to ancient Egyptian gold jewelry. Number 4. Turquoise. Turquoise is a blue-green stone that was highly prized by the Egyptians. They believed that it could protect them from evil spirits and bring them good luck. They also associated turquoise with the sky and the ocean and believed that it could connect them to the gods. Why do people still make the mistake of wearing turquoise? There are many reasons why turquoise remains a popular choice for jewelry today. First, its beautiful color. Turquoise is one of the most sought-after colors for jewelry, and it is considered a symbol of the sky and the sea. People love to wear turquoise because it reminds them of the beauty of nature and the vastness of the universe. Second, turquoise is said to have healing properties. It is believed that turquoise can help with digestion, balance hormones, and improve eyesight. Many people wear turquoise jewelry for its supposed health benefits, and some even claim that it has saved their lives. Third, turquoise is a sign of wealth and power. In ancient times, only the rich and mighty could afford to own turquoise jewelry. It was a symbol of their status and power and was often passed down as an heirloom. Today, turquoise is still considered a valuable gemstone and is often used in high-end jewelry pieces. Finally, turquoise is a versatile gemstone that can be used in many different types of jewelry. It can be cut into different shapes and sizes to create stunning pieces that suit any style. From rings and earrings to necklaces and bracelets, there are endless possibilities when it comes to turquoise jewelry. So what do you think? Would you wear these ancient Egyptian gold jewelry mistakes today? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about ancient Egypt. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to this space. This is part 2 of the lecture on beads and jewelry from the Indus Valley to the mules. If you haven't seen the first part yet, please click on the card above or the link in the description box below to watch it now. Do support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, the Indus Valley Civilization. One of the world's earliest urban civilizations flourished in South Asia between 3300 BCE and 1300 BCE. It was characterized by advanced town planning, sophisticated drainage systems, and a standardized system of weights and measures. The people of the Indus Valley were skilled artisans and traders, and they had a profound understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and other sciences. They also had a deep appreciation for beauty and aesthetics, and this is reflected in their exquisite jewelry artifacts. Continue to fascinate archaeologists and jewelry lovers alike. Beads played a significant role in the lives of the people of the Indus Valley. They were used not only as accessories but also as a form of currency and as offerings to the gods. Beads made from a variety of materials, including terracotta, shell, bone, and precious metals, were found in the archaeological sites of Harappa and Mohenjo. The most common type of beads were those made from terracotta, which were produced by shaping small pieces of clay into cylindrical or spherical forms and then baking them in a kiln. These beads were often decorated with simple geometric patterns or animal motifs, such as bulls or elephants. Some of the more valuable beads were made from materials such as carnelian, a red translucent stone that was prized for its color and durability. These beads were typically faceted or in the form of small pebbles and were used to make necklaces and bracelets. In addition to these simple beads, the Indus Valley people also produced more elaborate jewelry pieces. One example is the famous priest King Seal from Mohenjo, which depicts a bearded man wearing a necklace made from multiple strands of beads. Another example is the so-called dancing girl figurine, which shows a young woman wearing a pendant made from a single large bead. These pieces of jewelry are not only beautiful and intricate, but also provide valuable insights into the religious beliefs and cultural practices of the Indus Valley people. For example, the priest king's necklace may have been a symbol of his spiritual authority, while the dancing girl's pendant may have been a symbol of her femininity and grace. Moving on, let us talk about the use of gold in jewelry during the Vedic and post-Vedic periods in ancient India. Gold has been revered in India for thousands of years, and its use in jewelry dates back to the Vedic period. According to the ancient Hindu scriptures, gold is considered a symbol of spiritual purity, and is often associated with the sun god Surya. During the Vedic period, gold was primarily used to make simple ornaments such as earrings, necklaces, and armlets, which were worn by both men and women. After the Vedic period, the use of gold in jewelry became more elaborate and sophisticated. During the Kushan Empire, for example, gold was used to make more complex designs, including those featuring precious stones such as diamonds and rubies. The Gupta Empire was a golden age in the history of Indian art and culture, and the use of gold in jewelry reached new heights during this period. Goldsmiths created intricate designs featuring floral motifs, mythical creatures, and scenes from Hindu epics such as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. During the medieval period, different styles of jewelry emerged in various parts of India. For example, the Chola dynasty of Thailand is known for its exquisite gold jewelry, which was often decorated with gemstones and enamel work. The Vijayanagara Empire was another center of goldsmithing excellence, and its craftsmen produced some of the finest gold jewelry in India. In South India, the Kongu region was renowned for its gold jewelry, which was characterized by its heavy use of gold and bold designs. During the Mughal period, gold jewelry became even more elaborate and luxurious. The Mughals were known for their love of gold, and they often used it to make extravagant ornaments for both men and women. Goldsmiths working in the Mughal court were highly skilled and creative, and they produced some of the finest examples of gold jewelry in Indian history. Now, let's discuss some of the types of gold jewelry that were popular in ancient India. One of the most iconic types of gold jewelry is the jima, a nose ring that was worn by both men and women. Jima came in various shapes and sizes, and they were often decorated with precious stones. Another popular type of gold jewelry was the choker, a heavy necklace that was worn around the neck. Chokers were often made with multiple strands of gold and were decorated with intricate designs and gemstones. Badger band or armlets were also popular during the ancient period and were made with gold and precious stones. In addition to these traditional types of jewelry, gold was also used to make more innovative and experimental designs. For example, gold chains were sometimes used to decorate elephants and horses, while gold thread was used to embroider textiles. Gold jewelry was not only a symbol of wealth and status, but also had a religious significance. Many Hindus believe that gold has the ability to enhance the beauty of a person and bring them closer to the divine. Gold jewelry was also used as a gift to gods and goddesses, and it was believed that the shine of gold could purify the mind and body. Let us now look at some of the factors that influenced the use of gold in jewelry in ancient India. One important factor was the availability of gold in different regions. The southern part of the Indian subcontinent, particularly the region of Kola, was known for its rich gold deposits and was a major source of gold for ancient Indian jewelers. Another factor was the influence of different cultures and empires. As different cultures and empires rose and fell in India, they brought with them their own unique styles and motifs that influenced the design of gold jewelry. For example, the Ashoka Empire's love for nature and its flora and fauna led to the creation of jewelry featuring leaves, flowers, and animals. Finally, the use of gold in jewelry was also influenced by the social and cultural norms of different periods in ancient India. During the Vedic period, for example, gold jewelry was often simple and understated, while during the Mughal period, it became more elaborate and eye-catching. I hope this overview of the use of gold in jewelry during the Vedic and post-Vedic periods in ancient India was informative and enjoyable. Thank you for watching, and I invite you to explore our other videos on ancient Indian history and culture. Coming back to the topic of beads and jewelry, the tradition of making ornamental items continued throughout the following centuries. With the advent of new materials, techniques and styles, the jewelry of the Middle Ages became even more exquisite. In particular, the Mughal era witnessed an extraordinary flourishing of jewelry making in India. The Mughals were great patrons of the arts, and their influence can be seen in many aspects of Indian culture, including jewelry. When Babur founded the Mughal Empire in India in 1526, he brought with him Central Asian styles of jewelry making. These styles were later blended with Indian traditions to create a unique and exquisite jewelry. Babur himself was known to wear a distinctive style of turban ornaments, including a jeweled dagger and a necklace made of pearls and precious stones. His successors continued to adorn themselves with fine jewelry, each adding their own personal touch to the style. One of the most famous Mughal emperors was Akbar, who reigned from 1556 to 1605. He was known for his eclectic taste in jewelry, and he often wore ornaments made from materials such as ivory, bone, and precious stones. Akbar's son was also a great patron of the arts, and his reign saw the introduction of new materials and techniques in jewelry making. For example, he introduced the use of hard stones in jewelry, which were cut and polished to reveal their natural beauty. One of Jahangir's wives, Nur Jahan, was known for her exquisite taste in jewelry, and she often wore elaborate ornaments made from diamonds, rubies, and emeralds. She also introduced the use of enamel work in jewelry, which was a technique that involved decorating metal surfaces with colorful glass. Another Mughal emperor who was passionate about jewelry was Shah Jahan, who built the famous Taj Mahal as a mausoleum for his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. He was known for his love of diamonds and other precious stones, and he often wore ornaments made from these materials. One of the most iconic pieces of Mughal jewelry is the Mughal diamond, a large and beautiful diamond that was once thought to be the largest in the world. The diamond was said to have been discovered in the Kola mines in South India, and was later acquired by the Mughals. Its exact whereabouts are unknown, but it is believed to have been lost during the decline of the Mughal Empire. During the Mughal era, jewelers were highly skilled artisans, and they played an important role in the empire's economy. They were often employed by the royal court and were given generous salaries and other benefits. In fact, some jewelers were given noble titles and were allowed to keep the jewelry they made for the royals. The skills of Mughal jewelers were not only limited to making ornaments, but they were also experts in gem cutting, polishing, and setting. They developed new and innovative techniques to set precious stones in jewelry, which made the ornaments even more attractive and secure. The Mughal style of jewelry is characterized by its intricate designs and use of precious materials. Jewelers often worked with gold, silver, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and other precious stones to create stunning pieces that were worn by the royalty and the nobility. The ornaments often featured floral and geometric patterns, as well as scenes from nature and mythology. Enamel work and other decorative techniques were also commonly used to enhance the beauty of the jewelry. The legacy of Mughal jewelry can still be seen today in the works of contemporary jewelers, who draw inspiration from the era's exquisite designs and craftsmanship. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this journey through the evolution of beads and jewelry from the Indus Valley to the Mughals. Each era has its own unique style and significance, reflecting the cultural, religious, and artistic influences of the time. From the simple terracotta beads of the Indus Valley to the elaborate gold ornaments of the Mughals, these pieces of jewelry are not only beautiful and intricate, but also offer a fascinating glimpse into the history and heritage of South Asia. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to our channel for more informative and entertaining content on art, history, and culture. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hi, it's me. Welcome to my channel. Let's begin our journey through ancient Chinese jewelry and adornment. Chinese civilization is one of the oldest and longest continuous civilizations in the world. It has left behind a rich legacy of art, culture, and history, and today we will look at some of the best examples of their exquisite jewelry. Here are 6 pieces of Chinese jewelry from ancient times that are still popular today. 6. Ancient China. Jade. The use of jade in China dates back thousands of years, and it holds a special place in Chinese culture and history. In ancient China, jade was highly prized for its beauty, durability, and rarity. It was considered the most precious of all materials, and was often used to make high-status symbols such as jewelry. Jade represented 3 important virtues in Chinese culture: benevolence, wisdom, and courage. Additionally, because of its toughness and ability to be polished into an extremely fine sheen, it symbolized immortality and was often used in burial rituals. The most treasured pieces were those made from nephrite, a durable and lustrous jade. During the Neolithic period, around 7000 BC, jade was carved into axes and ceremonial weapons and ornaments. The Hongshan culture, which flourished around 4200 BC, was known for its beautiful jade pieces, including pendants, earrings, and hair ornaments. Later, during the Shang and Zhou dynasties, bronze became a more popular material for jewelry, but jade remained highly valued. Exquisite jade objects were buried with the elite members of society in tombs. After the Han Dynasty, jade fell out of fashion for a while, but during the Qing Dynasty, it experienced a revival and continued to be popular until modern times. Today, jade jeweler is still cherished and worn by people of all ages and social classes. Its timeless elegance and cultural significance make it a treasured part of Chinese heritage. Jade is so important to Chinese culture that there is even a saying that goes, "A flawless piece of jade is rare, but a perfect human being is rarer." So you can see how much value they placed on this gemstone. No? 5. Ancient China, bronze and gold. Bronze and gold jewelry have a long history in China, dating back to the Shang and Zhou dynasties. When these materials were first used to create decorative objects and ritual vessels, bronze was highly valued for its durability, luster, and ability to be cast into intricate designs. It was commonly used to make ornaments, ritual vessels, and weapons. Gold was also highly prized for its beauty and rarity, and was often used to make elaborate jewelry and accessories. These two metals were used ostensibly throughout Chinese history, each representing different values and aesthetics. Bronze symbolized strength, power, and masculinity, while gold represented wealth, luxury, and femininity. The techniques used to create Chinese bronze and gold jewelry were highly sophisticated, involving lost wax, casting, chasing, chiseling, and gold objects were often made using granulation and filigree techniques. During the Han Dynasty, bronze jewelry became more popular with the introduction of new casting techniques that allowed for more intricate and detailed designs. The most famous bronze mirrors from this period were made during the Western Han Dynasty. Craftsmanship. Gold jewelry, on the other hand, was associated with wealth and power, and was commonly worn by members of the imperial court and wealthy merchants. During the Tang Dynasty, gold and silver jewelry became more widespread and accessible to the general public. The styles were influenced by the nomadic cultures of the North and Central Asia, and often featured intricate designs and bright enamel colors. Today, bronze and gold jewelry continues to be popular in China, and is often combined with modern designs and materials to create unique and stylish pieces. The traditional techniques and craftsmanship remain highly valued and sought after by collectors and jewelry enthusiasts alike. Number 4. Ancient China hairpins. Hairpins have been used in China for thousands of years as both a functional and decorative accessory. They were initially used to secure the elaborate hairstyles that were popular among the elite classes, and later became a common accessory for women of all social classes. The earliest evidence of hairpins in China dates back to the Neolithic period, where simple bone and stone hairpins have been discovered. However, it was during the Shang and Zhou dynasties that metal hairpins began to emerge and become more ornate. During the Han Dynasty, the use of hairpins reached its peak, and they became an integral part of women's fashion. Jade, gold, and silver were commonly used to create intricate and elaborate hairpins that were designed to hold up elaborate buns or braids. These hairpins often featured decorative motifs such as flowers, birds, and dragons, and were considered a symbol of feminine beauty and grace. During the Tang Dynasty, the style of Chinese clothing changed, and women began wearing taller, more elaborate hairstyles that required larger and more sturdy hairpins. The most famous Tang Dynasty hairpins are the butterfly hairpins, which were typically made of gold and silver, and decorated with precious stones and pearls. These hairpins were a symbol of wealth and power, and were often worn by members of the imperial court. During the Song dynasty, the use of hairpins continued, and they were often used in combination with other hair accessories such as ribbons and silk flowers. Jade and gold hairpins remained popular and were often decorated with floral or animal motifs. Today, hairpins continue to be a popular accessory in China and are often incorporated into traditional and modern styles alike. While they are no longer used to secure elaborate hairstyles, they remain a symbol of elegance and sophistication. 3. Ancient China. Belt buckles. Belt buckles have a long history in China, dating back to the Warring States period, when they were used as a practical accessory to hold garments together. However, during the Han Dynasty, belt buckles became more ornamental and were often used to display wealth and power. The Han Dynasty belt buckles were typically made of bronze and featured intricate designs of animals, plants, and mythical creatures. During the Tang Dynasty, belt buckles became larger and more elaborate, often taking the form of decorative plaques that were attached to the belt with chains or cords. These buckles were frequently made of gold and silver and were set with precious stones and pearls. During the Song Dynasty, belt buckles became smaller and more delicate. Jade and gold were popular materials, and designs often featured floral or animal motifs. Today, belt buckles continue to be a popular accessory in China and are often incorporated into both traditional and modern styles. While they are no longer used as a practical means of holding garments together, they remain a symbol of personal style and fashion. Number 2. Ancient China. Burial jewelry. The role of jewelry in ancient Chinese burials was significant and multifaceted. It served not only as a way to adorn the deceased and signify their status, but also as a tool to protect and guide them in the afterlife. Ancient Chinese believed that the soul or the hun of the deceased would leave the body after death and go on a journey to the afterlife. To ensure the safe passage of the soul, the body was often buried with grave goods such as jewelry that were believed to protect and guide the soul on its journey. Jade was highly valued in ancient China and was often used for burial jewelry because of its ability to ward off evil spirits and bring good luck. Jade beads, bracelets, and pendants were commonly placed on the body or buried alongside it to protect the deceased on their journey. Gold and silver were also popular choices for burial jewelry, as they were seen as symbols of wealth and power. Gold and silver coins, ornaments, and jewelry were often buried with the deceased to ensure their prosperity in the afterlife. During the Han Dynasty, a distinct type of burial jewelry known as gui, or ghost jewelry, emerged. These were small, intricately crafted pieces of jewelry that were designed to resemble everyday objects, such as houses, boats, and animals. The ancient Chinese believed that these objects could provide the deceased with comfort and familiarity in the afterlife. During the Tang Dynasty, Buddhist beliefs had a significant influence on burial customs and the types of jewelry used. Buddhist symbols such as the lotus flower, the wheel of the law, and images of Buddha himself were commonly used in burial jewelry. Jade and gold were still popular choices, but silver and other materials such as glass and ivory also became more common. During the Song Dynasty, the emphasis on practicality and simplicity in daily life also influenced burial customs. More understated and elegant pieces of jewelry were used, and jade and gold were still seen as the most precious materials. Today, while many of the traditional beliefs and customs surrounding burial jewelry have been replaced, the practice of burying loved ones with jewelry and other personal belongings remains common in China. Families often bury their loved ones with jewelry and other items that they believe will bring them comfort and prosperity in the afterlife. Number 1. Ancient China. Filigree and granulation. Filigree and granulation are two ancient Chinese jewelry-making techniques that involve working with metals in a highly intricate and delicate manner. Both techniques are highly labor-intensive and require skilled craftsmanship. Filigree involves the creation of delicate metal threads or wires that are then twisted and looped together to create intricate patterns and designs. This technique is often used to create lightweight yet detailed pieces of jewelry. On the other hand, granulation involves the process of creating small raised dots or granules on a metal surface. These granules can be arranged in various patterns and designs to create a textured or three-dimensional effect. Gold and silver are the most common metals used for granulation due to their malleability and ductility. Both filigree and granulation techniques were used extensively in ancient Chinese jewelry making and were particularly popular during the Han and Tang dynasties. Filigree pieces were often used to create intricate hair ornaments and pendants, while granulation was commonly used to decorate rings, earrings and bracelets. The exquisite craftsmanship and attention to detail required for these techniques resulted in stunning pieces of jewelry that were highly prized by the Chinese nobility. Today, filigree and granulation are still practiced by skilled artisans in China and are often incorporated into contemporary jewelry designs. These ancient techniques continue to be admired for their beauty and complexity and serve as a testament to the rich history of Chinese jewelry making. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time to explore the fascinating world of ancient Chinese jewelry and adornments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. Hello, welcome to Sleepyhead Historian YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel. And let's get started with today's video. Today we are looking at ancient Greece and Rome. This was a time where men and women both wore jewelry. The pieces were very often made from precious metals like gold and silver. They would also be decorated with precious gems. This was a time period that spanned about 800 years. It was also a time period where mythology played a huge part in people's everyday lives. So when you think of this time period, think of gods and goddesses. Think of flowing white robes and sandals, and remember that this was a time period that greatly emphasized balance and proportion. Let's take a look at some of the jewelry they wore. Laurel wreaths. In ancient Greece and Rome, the laurel wreath was a symbol of victory and honor. Wearing a laurel wreath showed that you had won a competition or battle, or that you had been successful in something. Sometimes these wreaths would be made out of real laurel leaves, but because these would wilt, they would often make them out of gold or precious stones. You can see an example here on the bust of a woman. She is wearing a necklace made entirely of small pearls, and it looks exactly like a laurel wreath. The laurel wreath was also a common motif for pendants like this one shown here. This pendant was found in the tomb of an early Christian emperor, and it shows a laurel wreath surrounding a cross. This is showing us that the wearer was a victorious Christian. There are also many examples of coins minted during this time period showing the laurel wreath. For example, this coin here shows the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, and he is wearing a laurel wreath. Laurel wreaths would even be worn by the gods. In this sculpture of Athena, she is wearing a laurel wreath, and this shows that she is the goddess of wisdom and war. Medusa, the Gorgon, was a monster with the face of a woman and the body of a snake. She was known for her ugly, scary face, which could turn men to stone. But later on, she became a symbol of protection. People would wear her likeness to ward off evil spirits. So if you were wearing a Medusa pendant, this means that you had powers over evil spirits. It also meant that you had control over your emotions. The Greeks believed that Medusa represented feminine power and strength. This is why both men and women would wear her likeness. Here is a great example of a Roman amulet in the shape of Medusa. On this one, she has snakes coming out of her ears, and she has fangs. Her hair is made up of more snakes, and this one really looks like the Medusa that we know from Greek mythology. Another interesting piece is this silver pendant. Here you can see Medusa's head, and notice how her hair is not snakes, but laurel branches, and she is wearing a necklace, and here is another pendant with a similar design. You can tell that this one is earlier, because the head of Medusa is more animalistic, and she is not wearing a necklace like the other one. These pendants would have been worn by both men and women, and depending on what they were made from, they could have been worth a lot of money. Eros. Eros was the god of love. He was the son of Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and desire. Eros would shoot people with arrows, and whoever he shot would fall in love. Here is an example of a pendant showing Eros. He is holding a bow and arrow. Notice the detail on his wings. This pendant dates back to around 200 AD. His wings are very important because they show how fast love can strike. Here is an example of a ring with Eros on it. Once again, he is holding his bow and arrow, and there is a pearl at the center of the ring. This ring probably belonged to a very wealthy person, because pearls were expensive. This next piece is very interesting. It is a marble sculpture of Eros, and if you look closely, you will see that he is wearing a bracelet on his right wrist. Now, I am not sure if this is supposed to be a torque or a slave bracelet, but I thought this was interesting because rarely do you see bracelets in these types of sculptures. Pearls. Pearls were very popular in ancient Greece and Rome. Women would wear them as necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and anklets. Pearls were believed to protect women from evil spirits, and this is why many tombs from this time period show women wearing pearl necklaces. Here is an example of a pearl necklace on a statue of Aphrodite. She is wearing a thin chain, and this chain is holding up her hair. Here is another example. This is a marble sculpture of a woman, and once again, she is using a pearl necklace to hold up her hair. This necklace is elaborate and beautiful. In fact, most likely any piece of jewelry that was owned by an elite woman during this time period would be very ornate and beautiful, because these women were trying to show off their wealth. Here is an example of a woman's portrait coin. She is wearing a pearl necklace and elaborate earrings, and this is to show that she was an important woman. If you look closely, you will see that her hair is also decorated with pearls. They were definitely a favorite adornment for this time period. Emeralds. Emeralds were very popular with the Greeks and the Romans. They loved using them for inlays, and you can find many pieces showing this. Here is an example of a brooch that has emeralds set into the design. It looks like it is made for a cloak or a shawl. This piece comes from Egypt and dates back to around 300 BC. Emeralds were highly prized by the Egyptians, Greeks and Romans because they believed that the emerald was a magical stone. They thought that it could help people see better in the dark, and that it could cure eye problems. Emeralds were also used to decorate important buildings, such as the Temple of Minerva, Poulias, in Athens. This temple was dedicated to the goddess Athena, and was considered one of the most important temples in Greece. Garnets. Garnets are red stones that were used by both men and women. Both the Greeks and Romans loved them. In fact, they thought that garnets symbolized courage and loyalty. Garnets were also believed to protect travelers from harm. They were also believed to improve blood circulation and keep the wearer healthy. Here is an example of a gold ring that has a garnet in the center. This ring dates back to about 1,000 years ago and is from northern Greece. Garnets were also sometimes used to decorate weapons. Here is an example of a bronze helmet that has garnets set into the design. This helmet dates back to around 400 BC. These garnets would have protected the wearer from harm while he was in battle. Jewelry as a seal. During this time period, people would use their jewelry as a personal seal. Many of their seals would have their crest or their family's crest on them. They would use these seals to sign documents instead of signing with their name. The Romans especially liked using rings as seals. Here is an example of a Roman signet ring. This one has an engraved scene on it and was used to stamp wax. The wax would then be attached to a letter or document. Status symbols. As I mentioned earlier, people from higher social classes could afford nicer pieces of jewelry. They would wear their jewelry to show off their status. For example, this fibula dates back to around 100 BC. It was found in a tomb of a wealthy woman, and it has precious stones inlaid into the design. This was a brooch that would have held her cloak or shawl in place. Here is another example. This brooch is much simpler and is made out of bronze. It would have been worn by a woman of lower social class. Love tokens. People from ancient Greece and Rome would give each other jewelry as a love token. Men would often give their lady friends rings or bracelets, and sometimes these pieces would have sayings on them. The sayings would either encourage the woman to stay faithful to her lover, or they would remind her of her lover. Here is an example of a bracelet that says, "You are my sun and moon." Here is another one that says, "I am yours." And here is one that says, "You are my life." Men would also wear rings with sayings on them. Here's an example that says, "My beloved is beautiful." All of these pieces are amazing and beautiful. They show a culture that was flourishing both economically and artistically. When you think of the time period of ancient Greece and Rome, think of gods and goddesses. Think of flowing white robes and sandals. And remember that this was a time period that greatly emphasized balance and proportion. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Hey there! Welcome to our store where we offer an exquisite collection of jewelry inspired by the vibrant colors and rich cultural heritage of Africa. Today, we're re-embarking on a captivating journey through the world of African beadwork, exploring its deep cultural significance, traditional techniques, and the profound impact it has on the lives of the people who create and wear these stunning pieces. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover the magic of African beadwork. Africa, a continent brimming with diverse cultures and traditions, boasts a rich history of beadwork that dates back centuries. This art form holds immense cultural significance as it often incorporates symbols, colors, and patterns that reflect a community's history, values, and spiritual beliefs. For instance, the Maasai, a nomadic tribe known for their distinctive red attire, use beads to adorn themselves during special occasions and ceremonies. Their intricate beadwork, often featuring vibrant red and blue colors, symbolizes their connection to their ancestral lands and their respect for their elders. Similarly, the Akan people of Ghana use gold in their traditional beadwork, not just for its beauty, but also for its symbolic representation of wealth, power, and the spiritual realm. The use of cowrie shells, wood, and bone further enhances the cultural significance of African bead. Cowrie shells, for example, are not only beautiful, but also hold spiritual significance in many African cultures. They are believed to have protective powers and are often used in rituals and ceremonies. Wood and bone, on the other hand, are used not only for their aesthetic appeal, but also for their durability and versatility. Beadwork in Africa is more than just a decorative art form. It plays a vital role in various aspects of daily life. It is often used as a form of body decoration, allowing individuals to express their identity, status, and cultural affiliation. In some communities, specific bead patterns and colors are associated with particular clans or lineages. serving as a way to identify and connect with others who share a common heritage. Moreover, beadwork is deeply intertwined with important rites of passage, such as coming-of-age ceremonies, weddings, and funerals. Each stitch and pattern carries with it a story, a symbol, a prayer, or a memory. The process of creating African beadwork is a labor of love and skill. Traditionally, the art form is passed down from one generation to the next, with each artisan adding their unique touch and style. The beads themselves can be made from a variety of materials, including glass, stone, wood, and metal. Glass beads, which were introduced to Africa through trade with European merchants, became highly prized and are now widely used in modern beads. Stone beads, on the other hand, are often sourced locally and may have additional cultural or spiritual significance. The techniques used in African beadwork are as diverse as the materials, from delicate seed bead embroidery to bold statement necklaces. The possibilities are endless. One popular technique involves stringing together small glass beads to create intricate patterns and designs, while others may incorporate larger beads with unique shapes or textures. The use of multiple colors and patterns often results in visually stunning pieces that celebrate the vibrancy and diversity of African culture. African beadwork holds deep spiritual significance, connecting the wearer to their cultural heritage, values, and beliefs. The choice of colors, patterns, and materials often reflects a community's unique identity and traditions. The Maasai tribe's red and blue beadwork, for instance, symbolizes their bond with their land and ancestors. Meanwhile, the Akan people's use of gold beads signifies wealth, power, and the spiritual realm. Beyond its cultural importance, African beadwork is also deeply intertwined with spiritual practices. Certain bead patterns and designs are believed to have protective powers, warding off evil spirits and bringing good luck. During ceremonies and rituals, specific beads may be worn or displayed to invoke ancestral spirits or deities. The spiritual aspect of beadwork adds another layer of depth and meaning to these already culturally rich pieces. Now let us take a closer look at some of the most renowned beadwork from different regions of Africa. The Maasai beadwork, originating from the Maasai communities in Kenya and Tanzania, is instantly recognizable for its vibrant colors and intricate patterns. The Maasai women are particularly skilled in beadwork, creating stunning pieces that adorn their bodies and symbolize their cultural identity. Their signature red and blue colors represent courage, strength, and their connection to their ancestral lands. The patterns often feature geometric shapes and bold lines, showcasing the precision and skill of the Maasai artisans. These beaded ornaments are not just decorative, but also serve as a means of communication and a way to display their unique traditions to the world. The Ndebele beadwork from South Africa is another mesmerizing example of African bead. The Ndebele women are known for their colorful and intricate body decorations, which play a significant role in their cultural practices. Their beadwork often features bold geometric patterns and a fusion of bright colors, reflecting their vibrant culture and strong sense of community. These patterns are not only visually striking, but also convey messages and stories within the community. For instance, certain patterns may signify a woman's marital status or her role within the community. The Ndebele women's beadwork is a testament to their creativity, skill, and cultural pride. The Himba beadwork from Namibia is a lesser known, but equally fascinating example of African bead. The Himba women are an indigenous tribe known for their distinctive red ochre body paint and intricate beaded jewelry. Their beadwork is characterized by the use of natural materials such as wood and bone, as well as colorful glass beads. The Himba women incorporate traditional patterns and designs that hold cultural significance, often using beads to adorn their necks, wrists, and ankles. Their beadwork is not only a beautiful expression of their cultural heritage, but also a testament to their connection with nature and their spiritual beliefs. African beadwork holds immense economic importance, providing a sustainable source of income for many communities and individuals. The demand for authentic African beadwork has grown significantly in recent years, both within Africa and internationally. Tourists and collectors alike are eager to acquire unique and handmade pieces that support local artisans. The economic benefits of beadwork extend beyond the creation of the beads themselves. It also encompasses the skills required to design, assemble, and market the finished products. By promoting fair trade practices and ensuring that artisans receive fair compensation for their work, it is possible to empower communities and support their economic development. Preserving the legacy of African beadwork is crucial for maintaining cultural continuity and empowering local communities. Efforts are being made to document traditional techniques, support cultural organizations, and promote sustainable tourism that respects local traditions. By raising awareness about the importance of African beadwork and its cultural significance, we can ensure that this vibrant art form continues to thrive for generations to come. If you're interested in purchasing African beadwork, it's important to do so responsibly. Look for pieces that are handmade and authentic, ensuring that you're supporting local artisans and their communities directly. Consider the materials used and the cultural significance behind the beadwork you're acquiring. By making conscious choices, you can contribute to the preservation of this valuable cultural heritage while also giving back to the communities that create these beautiful works of art. Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through the world of African beadwork. We hope you've discovered the beauty, cultural significance, and economic importance of this art form. If you're a fan of African beadwork or have your own experiences to share, we encourage you to leave a comment below. Let's continue the conversation and celebrate the vibrant colors and rich cultural heritage of Africa together. Until next time, stay curious, embrace diversity, and keep supporting authentic craftsmanship. Hey smart people. Number 9, we have the Americas. There's a lot of land here. So let's go to Mesoamerica first. Mesoamerican cultures had a thing for precious materials like gold and turquoise. And if there was one thing they loved more than anything else, it was showing off their wealth. If you had enough money, you could get yourself all kinds of fine jewelry that would make any Instagram influencer jealous. The Maya were among the best goldsmiths in the ancient world, rivaled only by perhaps the Nubians down south. They were so good, in fact, that they could turn base metals like copper into stunning works of art. But even those works were no match for the treasure that lay beneath the earth: actual gold. And gold, it did. It was used for everything from small ornaments to large-scale sculptures. Some pieces were purely ornamental, while others were highly symbolic. This pendant, for example, depicts the maize god, an important deity in Mayan culture who represented fertility and agriculture. These earrings show two side-by-side jaguars, which symbolized power, courage, and strength. All qualities that any jaguar would want to see in themselves. It wasn't just about what the jewelry looked like, though it was also about what it meant. For the Maya, jewelry was a way to communicate their identity and values. And they weren't shy about it either. Their gold ornaments were some of the most elaborate in the ancient world, often featuring multiple layers of intricate designs and precious stones. When the Spanish came along, they were so impressed by the quality of Mayan goldsmithing that they actually brought some of the local artisans back to Europe with them. There, they continued to produce exquisite works of jewelry for the royal court. And speaking of the royal court, Let's talk about the Aztecs. The Aztecs were also big fans of gold, but they had a different style from the Maya. Instead of small, intricate designs, the Aztecs preferred large, bold pieces that really made a statement. Take this necklace, for example. It's made of over 2,500 gold discs that are linked together. The discs are so large that they can be seen from space. No lie. It's the perfect accessory for an emperor who wants to show off his wealth and power. But the Aztecs didn't just wear gold, they also incorporated turquoise into their jewelry. The Aztecs prized turquoise because it was rare and valuable. They believed that the stone had magical powers, and they used it to treat everything from headaches to snake bites. Because of its rarity and value, turquoise was often reserved for the elite members of society, like the military elite or the ruling class. However, there is evidence that commoners could also wear the stone. In fact, there is a legend about an Aztec warrior who was so skilled in battle that he was said to have been wearing a necklace made entirely of turquoise. But the Aztecs weren't the only ones who liked to deck themselves out in fine jewelry. The Inca also had a thing for precious metals, but they had their own unique style. The Inca were fascinated by the sun, which they believed was a god. That's why the sun motif appears everywhere in their art, including their jewelry. This pendant, for example, depicts the sun god in. It was probably worn by a member of the Inca royal family, since only the nobility were allowed to wear images of the sun. The Inca were also big fans of ceremonial headdresses. They were often made of gold and adorned with feathers and precious stones. This particular headdress is probably the most famous of them all. It was found on the mummy of Pachacati, the Inca emperor who conquered much of Peru. The headdress is made of over 30 pounds of solid gold, and it took 150 goldsmiths over a year to make it. Talk about a labor of love, but the Inca didn't stop at gold. They also experimented with other materials like silver. In fact, the Inca were some of the first people in the Americas to work with the metal. They used it to make everything from simple ornaments to complex religious objects. Now let's move on to North America. There's a lot of land here. So let's go to the Southwest first. The Native Americans in the Southwest have a long tradition of making beautiful beads. They use beads made from everything from shells to clay to glass. But one of their favorite materials is silver. Silver was used by the Native Americans in the Southwest for hundreds of years. They used it to make everything from small ornaments to large ceremonial objects. The Navajo, the Zuni, and the Hopi are three tribes who have been working with silver for centuries. Each tribe has its own unique style, but all of them are known for their incredible skill and craftsmanship. The Navajo, for example, are known for their intricate silver jewelry. They use small stones and concho belts to create some of the most beautiful pieces in the world. The Zuni are known for their fetish carvings. These are small statues of animals and other creatures that are supposed to bring good luck. And the Hopi are known for their Kashina dolls. These dolls are made to represent the spirits that live in the Hopi villages. The Native Americans in the Southwest have been using turquoise in their jewelry and ornaments for hundreds of years. Turquoise is a beautiful blue-green stone that is said to bring good luck. It's a popular choice for necklaces, earrings, and bracelets. Okay, now let's go to the Great Plains. If you've ever seen a Native American headdress, you know how beautiful they are. The feathers, the beads, the leather, it all comes together to create something truly special. But have you ever wondered about the history behind these headdresses? Where did they come from? Why are they so important? The answer goes back centuries. The Great Plains are home to many different tribes, each with their own unique culture and history. But one thing they have in common is their love of horses. When the Spanish introduced horses to the Americas in the 16th century, the Native Americans quickly adopted them as part of their culture. Horses changed the way the tribes lived, hunted, and fought. They became such an integral part of life that they were often seen as sacred animals. And what's more sacred than the horse? The Lakota, one of the largest tribes on the Great Plains, developed a unique headdress that symbolized their relationship with horses. These headdresses were not just a symbol of their culture, but also a way to honor their ancestors and their connection to the natural world. The materials used to make the headdresses were carefully selected. The most common material was leather, which was durable and could withstand the rigors of everyday life. Feathers were also used to decorate the headdresses, and each feather had its own special meaning. For example, eagle feathers represented freedom and power, while buffalo feathers represented strength and endurance. The headdresses were often passed down from generation to generation, and each one had its own story to tell. Some headdresses were said to have been blessed by tribal elders, while others were said to have been worn in battle. Today, Native American headdresses are still being made in the same traditional style. They are a symbol of pride, culture, and heritage. If you ever have the opportunity to see one up close, you will never forget it. Alright, so now let's take a look at the art from Oceania. Oceania is home to some of the most beautiful art in the world. From the intricate wood carvings of the Maori to the colourful paintings of the Aboriginal Australians, the art of Oceania is truly unique and thought. One of the most popular forms of art from Oceania is the wood carving. The Maori people of New Zealand are renowned for their intricate and detailed wood carvings, which often depict important stories and figures from their culture. The Aboriginal Australians, on the other hand, are known for their rock art, which dates back thousands of years. These paintings are not just beautiful to look at, but also serve as a way to connect with their ancestors and preserve their cultural heritage. Oceania is also home to some amazing jewelry and ornament makers. The jewelry from Oceania is often made from materials that can be found in the ocean, such as pearls and shells. The result is often stunning pieces that are unlike anything you've seen before. The same is true of the ornaments, which are often made from wood, bone, and other natural materials. What I find fascinating about the art from Oceania is that it is not just beautiful to look at, but also serves an important purpose in preserving cultural traditions and connecting with ancestors. It's a powerful reminder of the importance of respecting and learning from different cultures around the world. Which continent's art do you think is the most impressive? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we have reached the end of our exploration of art across continents. I hope you enjoyed this journey through the beauty and diversity of human creativity. From the towering pyramids of Egypt to the intricate carvings of Oceania, we have seen how art can express the deepest emotions, tell stories of ancient civilizations, and reflect the beliefs and values of different cultures. Now it's time for you to continue this adventure on your own. Go out into the world and discover the amazing art that surrounds us. Visit museums, attend local art events, and support artists in your community. And don't forget to share your own creativity with the world. Whether you draw, paint, sculpt, or perform, your art matters. It has the power to inspire, to heal, and to bring people together. So go forth, art enthusiasts, and let your passion for beauty and self-expression guide you. Who knows, you might just create the next masterpiece. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be looking at 10 pieces of jewelry from medieval Europe. Let's get into it. Number 10. The crochet. Now, this is not technically jewelry, but I couldn't resist including it because it is so cool. It is called the crochet of Carlomagno and dates back to around the year 800. At its simplest, it was a staff used by bishops and abbots as a symbol of their authority, in much the same way that the Pope uses his own crochet, but this one is particularly special. It is made of gold and precious stones, and if you look closely, you can see how they have decorated the staff with scenes from the life of Christ. Now, the crozier itself is a very old object, dating back to biblical times. However, during the Middle Ages, they really took off as items of great importance. This one here, for example, belonged to a man called who was the Bishop of Verdun between 771 and 806 AD. During his tenure as bishop, he became close friends with Charlemagne, who was the king of the Franks. And this friendship is recorded for us in a letter written by one of Charlemagne's grandsons. He writes about how Godot would walk ahead of Charlemagne when they were traveling together, holding his crozier up high like an oak tree. So not only does this tell us about the wearer of the jewelry, but it also tells us about the owner. And what a powerful image it must have been to see these two men walking through the forest. One old and frail, and one young and virile. Number 9. A ring that symbolizes devotion. This ring is made out of gold and enamel and dates back to the 14th century. It features the Virgin Mary on one side and the Agnus Dei on the other. The Agnus Dei is Latin for Lamb of God, and it refers to Jesus Christ. In Christian theology, he is often depicted as a lamb because he sacrificed himself for the sins of humanity. This type of jewelry was very popular during the Middle Ages, and people would often wear it as a symbol of their religious devotion. It was also a way of showing your piety without having to go to extremes. For example, some people might choose to wear a cross or a crucifix, while others might opt for something more subtle, like the Agnus Dei. This ring could have been worn by anyone, regardless of their social status. It was simply a way of expressing one's faith. No. 8. Sumptuary laws. These laws date back to the 13th and 14th centuries, and they were designed to regulate the amount of jewelry that people could wear based on their social class. They were intended to maintain order and decorum within society, and they applied to all aspects of dress, including the jewelry that people wore. The idea behind them was that if everyone knew their place, then there would be less conflict and more harmony within the community. And sumptuary laws were especially important during the Middle Ages, as this was a time when society was becoming increasingly. As the economy grew, there was a larger gap between the rich and the poor, and this created tensions within society. The laws were typically enforced through a combination of fines and imprisonment, and they were often quite severe. For example, a woman who wore too much jewelry could be fined a large sum of money, or she could be sent to prison for a short time. Men who wore jewelry that was considered to be too feminine were also at risk of being punished, as they were seen to be breaking the laws that governed gender roles. However, despite these laws, people still found ways to express themselves through their jewelry, and many pieces from this time period show a great deal of creativity and ingenuity. People began to use different colored gemstones to make political statements. For example, the colors of the French royal family were blue and gold, so people who supported the monarchy might wear these colors on their jewelry. No. 7. Brooch of Blanche of Castile. This brooch dates back to the 13th century and was owned by Blanche of Castile, who was the wife of King Louis VIII of France. It is a beautiful piece of jewelry made out of gold and precious stones, and it reflects the wealth and power of the French monarchy. Blanche herself was a very important figure in medieval French history. She was the mother of Saint Louis, who succeeded his father to the throne after his death in 1226. She played an important role in the coronation of her son and was a patron of the arts and learning. However, she is perhaps best known for her piety and her commitment to the Catholic Church. She was a devoutly religious woman, and she used her position to promote the interests of the church. She also founded several religious orders and made significant donations to the construction of churches and other religious buildings. The brooch was likely a gift to her from her husband or another member of the royal court, and it would have been worn on her robes or her clothing. It is now housed in the Louvre Museum in Paris and is open to the public. Number 6. Talk of the Kings of Scotland. This is a very important piece of jewellery in Scottish history. It dates back to the 15th century and was worn by several kings of Scotland, including James II, James III, and Charles II. The torque is a large necklace made out of gold and precious stones, and it symbolizes the power and authority of the Scottish monarchy. The origin of the torque goes back further than the Middle Ages. However, as they were actually used by the Picts, who were an ancient tribe that lived in what is now Scotland, and they were made to symbolize the power and authority of the tribal leaders. During the Middle Ages, the Picts were largely gone and replaced by the Scots, but the tradition of wearing torques continued, and so it became a symbol of Scottish identity. Number 5. Jewelry of the nobility. During the Middle Ages, jewelry was a way for the nobility to display their wealth and power. They would often wear rings, necklaces, and bracelets made out of gold and precious stones such as rubies, sapphires, and emeralds. They might also wear jewelry made out of enamel and filigree, which are delicate gold wires that are twisted together to form intricate designs. This type of jewelry was not only expensive, but it was also highly sought after, as it showed the wearer's status and importance. Often these pieces were passed down through the family as heirlooms, and they would be worn on special occasions such as weddings or coronations. Number 4. Pilgrimage tokens. During the Middle Ages, pilgrimages were a very popular way for Christians to show their devotion to God. One of the most popular destinations was the Shrine of St. James in Compostela, Spain, and many people would make the journey on foot. It was a dangerous undertaking, but those who completed it were rewarded with a special token that they could wear around their neck. The tokens were often made out of lead or pewter, and they featured the image of St. James, wherein the token was a way of showing that you had completed the pilgrimage, and it was also a reminder of your commitment to your faith. No. 3. Ecclesiastical ornamentation. During the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church was a very wealthy institution, and its buildings were often adorned with beautiful and intricate decorations. This included the use of stained glass windows, sculptures, and paintings. But one often overlooked aspect of this decoration was jewelry. The clergy would often wear jewelry made out of gold and precious stones. It was not only a way of showing their status within the church, but it was also a way of expressing their devotion to God. For example, a bishop might wear a ring that symbolized his authority over his diocese, and a cardinal might wear a necklace that symbolized his membership in the College of Cardinals. These pieces of jewelry were often very elaborate, and they were meant to be seen as symbols of the wealth and power of the church. No. 2. Locket of Margaret of Anjou. This locket dates back to the 15th century and was owned by Margaret of Anjou, who was the wife of King Henry VI of England. It is a small, intricately decorated box that would have been worn around the neck, and it reflects the wealth and power of the English monarchy. The locket would have been used to hold a small item, such as a miniature portrait of Henry VI or Margaret of Anjou themselves. Inside, it could also contain a lock of hair from one of the royals, or even a small relic from a saint. The locket was likely a gift to Margaret from her husband or another member of the royal court. Would have been worn on special occasions such as court proceedings or state dinners. And finally, number 1, jewelry of the common folk. During the Middle Ages, jewelry was not only a way for the rich and powerful to display their wealth, but it was also a way for the common people to express their style and identity. Commoners might wear jewelry made out of more affordable materials such as copper, brass, and iron. They might also wear jewelry made out of natural materials such as wood, bone, and stone. Some common types of jewelry worn by commoners included rings, bracelets, and necklaces. Rings were often made out of metal, and they were worn on the finger. They could be simple bands, or they could be more elaborate and feature engravings or gemstones. Bracelets were often made out of leather or metal, and they were worn around the wrist. They could be simple cuffs, or they could be more elaborate and feature beads or charms. Necklaces were often made out of string or leather, and they were worn around the neck. They could be simple strands of beads, or they could be more elaborate and feature pendants or charms. Overall, the jewelry worn by commoners was a reflection of their lives and the materials that were available to them. It was a way for them to add a personal touch to their clothing and to express their individual style. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe. The art of the Islamic world is filled with unique beauty, from delicate calligraphy to intricate geometry. Hi, I'm here, and let's explore 11 examples of Islamic art that are sure to leave you speechless. Number 11. Calligraphy. Calligraphy is one of the most beautiful and important forms of Islamic art. It's considered the highest form of decorative art, and is used everywhere from mosques and palaces to everyday objects like plates and bowls. Islamic calligraphy is highly regarded because it's believed that the written word has power. The flowing script seems to dance across the page, expressing the rhythm and beauty of the language. One of the most famous calligraphers was Ibn al-Bitar, who was a contemporary of Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. His work is an excellent example of the Diwan script, which was used for writing poetry. Number 10. Filigree. Another popular form of Islamic art is filigree, which uses thin, delicate lines to create intricate patterns and designs. This style originated in Mesopotamia and was used to decorate everything from jewelry to book covers to mosque screens. It takes a lot of skill and patience to create filigree, but the results are always worth it. The delicate, intricate designs are truly breathtaking and add a touch of elegance and sophistication to any object they adorn. If you want to learn more about filigree, there are some great resources available. You can also try making your own filigree jewelry or home decor items. It's a fun and rewarding craft that anyone can enjoy. No. 9. Enamel. Enamel is another beautiful form of Islamic art that consists of decorating metal surfaces with colorful glass. This technique originated in Persia and was used to decorate everything from weapons to tiles to jewelry. Enamel is a very versatile medium and can be used to create a wide variety of designs, from geometric patterns to floral motifs to portraits of animals and people. One of the most famous examples of Islamic enamel work is the Peacock Throne, which was made for the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in the 17th century. The throne is decorated with hundreds of precious stones and pearls, as well as gold and silver threads. It's an incredible example of the skill and artistry of Islamic enamel workers. Number 8. Jewelry. Jewelry is one of the oldest and most popular forms of adornment throughout history, and Islamic cultures have produced some of the most exquisite and intricate pieces of jewelry in the world. From delicate necklaces to bold statement rings, Islamic jewelry is known for its unique designs and craftsmanship. In Persian culture, jewelry often features floral and geometric motifs, as well as precious stones like turquoise and lapis lazuli. Ottoman jewelry is known for its bold use of color and its incorporation of different precious metals, while Mughal jewelry often features intricate enamel work and designs inspired by nature. 7. Architecture. Islamic architecture is renowned for its beauty and grandeur. Mosques, palaces, and tombs are just a few examples of the stunning structures that have been built in the name of Islam. These buildings are often adorned with intricate geometric patterns, calligraphy, and other embellishments that make them truly unique. One of the most famous examples of Islamic architecture is the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. This structure is considered to be the third holiest site in Islam and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was built in the 7th century and is known for its stunning golden dome and intricate tile work. Other notable examples of Islamic architecture include the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, the Great Mosque of Cordoba, and the Taj Mahal in India. These buildings are not only architectural marvels, but also works of art that showcase the beauty and creativity of Islamic cultures. Number 6. Evil Eye. The evil eye is a common motif in Islamic art and architecture. It is believed that the evil eye is a curse that can be cast by a person with ill intentions. To protect oneself from the evil eye, amulets and talismans are often worn or displayed in homes and businesses. The evil eye is typically represented by a blue bead or glass pendant, but it can also be found in other forms, such as jewelry or pottery. In addition to warding off evil, the evil eye is also believed to bring good luck and fortune. For these reasons, the evil eye is a popular symbol in many parts of the world, not just the Middle East and North Africa. If you're interested in learning more about the evil eye and its significance, there are a number of resources available online and in libraries. You can also find evil eye jewelry and other items at many gift shops and souvenir stores. No. 5. Glassware. Islamic art has a long and rich tradition of creating beautiful and intricate glassware. From simple bottles to complex vessels, Islamic glassmakers have created objects that are both functional and decorative. One of the most notable characteristics of Islamic glassware is the use of color. Glassmakers would often use vibrant hues to create eye-catching pieces that were designed to be displayed, as well as used for their intended purpose. In addition to color, Islamic glass was often decorated with intricate geometric patterns, calligraphy, and other embellishments that showcased the skill and artistry of the glassmaker. Some of the most famous examples of Islamic glass come from the Fatimid Caliphate, which ruled over much of North Africa and the Middle East in the 10th and 11th centuries. Fatimid glass was highly prized for its quality and craftsmanship, and is now highly sought after by collectors. No. 4. Textiles. Textiles are an integral part of Islamic art and culture. From carpets to tapestries to clothing, textiles have been used to decorate homes, mark special occasions, and express cultural identity. One of the most famous examples of Islamic textiles are the carpets from the city of Isfahan in Iran. Isfahan carpets are known for their intricate designs and high-quality craftsmanship. They often feature elaborate floral motifs and are made with natural dyes that give them a unique depth of color. In addition to carpets, Islamic textiles also include a wide variety of other products, such as towels, tablecloths, scarves, and clothing. Many of these items are decorated with traditional patterns and symbols such as stars and crescent moons, as well as geometric shapes and Arabic calligraphy. No. 3. Ceramics. Ceramics have been an important part of Islamic art since the early days of the faith. Some of the earliest examples of Islamic ceramics date back to the 7th century and were produced during the Abbasid Caliphate. These early ceramics were often simple in design, featuring geometric patterns and inscriptions from the Quran. However, as Islamic art developed, so too did ceramics. During the Seljuk and Ottoman periods, more elaborate designs became popular, including floral motifs, animal figures, and human portraits. One of the most famous centers of Islamic ceramic production was the city of Kashan in Iran. Kashan ceramics were highly prized for their quality and craftsmanship and were exported throughout the Middle East and beyond. Metalwork is an important aspect of Islamic art and has been practiced for centuries, from the creation of ornate mosque lamps to intricate weapons and decorative objects, Islamic metalworkers have produced some of the most exquisite examples of this art form. One of the hallmarks of Islamic metalwork is the use of geometric patterns, often combined with calligraphy and arabesque designs. This style is particularly evident in the work of Persian metalworkers, who were known for their skill in creating delicate and intricate pieces. Another important center of Islamic metalwork was Damascus, Syria, where metalworkers produced some of the finest examples of this art form. Damascene steel was renowned for its quality and was used to create everything from swords and shields to decorative mirrors and lanterns. Number 1. Miniatures. Islamic art includes a rich tradition of miniature painting, which involves creating small-scale, highly detailed artworks on paper or Miniature paintings often depict scenes from everyday life, historical events, or religious stories. One of the most famous examples of Islamic miniatures comes from the great Mongol Emperor Akbar, who commissioned a series of paintings that illustrated scenes from his life and reign. The Akbarnama, or Book of Akbar, contains over 1,000 miniatures and is considered one of the masterpieces of Islamic art. Another notable example of Islamic miniatures is the Shahnameh, or Book of Kings, which was completed in the 16th century. This epic poem tells the story of Iran's mythical origins through the exploits of its legendary kings. The Shahnameh contains over 500 miniatures that depict scenes from the poem, as well as portraits of the various characters. Islamic miniatures are not only beautiful works of art, but also provide a valuable historical record of Islamic cultures. They allow us to see the world through the eyes of Islamic artists and gain a deeper understanding of their cultures and traditions. If you enjoyed learning about these 11 examples of Islamic art, please let us know in the comments below. We hope you discovered something new and inspiring. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. 12. Renaissance and Enlightenment. 14th to 18th century, the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods were an incredible time for jewelry. It saw a revival in classical art and culture, a renewed interest in ancient Greek and Roman motifs, and a flourishing of new artistic techniques. Gem cutting also saw advancements during this time, particularly in the area of diamond cutting. The old brilliant cut was refined, and new cuts like the rose cut and the old mine cut were developed. These cuts allowed for more facets to be added to the gemstone, increasing their brilliance and fire. This also marked a shift away from the large, unfaceted stones that had been popular during the medieval period. Another key feature of Renaissance and Enlightenment jewelry was the emphasis on portrait jewelry. This took the form of rings, pendants, and brooches that featured small painted portraits of loved ones or important historical figures. These pieces were often highly detailed and showed the influence of the Renaissance and Enlightenment ideals of humanism and classicism. Portrait jewelry was not only a way to display one's wealth and power, but also a means of expressing personal devotion and affection. Some of these pieces were created as love tokens, given by one person to another as a symbol of their love and affection. They were sometimes even used as mourning jewelry with the portrait of a deceased loved one. During this time, religious motifs continued to be popular in jewelry, but they often blended with romantic symbolism. For example, hearts, arrows, and flowers became common symbols of love and were often incorporated into designs, along with religious iconography. This reflects the growing influence of courtly love and the cult of sensibility during the Renaissance and Enlightenment. Courtly love was a medieval literary and artistic genre that idealized romantic love between a knight and a lady. It emphasized the importance of the lady, and her approval was seen as the ultimate test of a knight's worthiness. The cult of sensibility, on the other hand, was an intellectual movement that emphasized emotion, imagination, and the beauty of nature. It celebrated the power of love and the importance of expressing one's feelings. Both of these cultural phenomena contributed to the popularity of romantic symbolism in jewelry during this time. Overall, Renaissance and Enlightenment jewelry was a reflection of the broader cultural trends of the era. It was a time of great change and upheaval, but also of incredible artistic achievement and intellectual exploration. Jewelry played an important role in this cultural landscape, expressing the values, beliefs, and passions of the people who wore it. So let's take a closer look at some of the most iconic pieces and designers from this period and explore the stories behind them. One of the most famous pieces of jewelry from the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods is the diamond-encrusted scepter of Queen Isabella of the French Bourbon dynasty. This magnificent scepter was made in Paris around 1635 and is now on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. It's a stunning example of the craftsmanship and artistry of the period. The scepter is made of gold and silver and is decorated with diamonds, rubies, and emeralds. The handle is in the form of a flower bud, with a large cabochon sapphire at its center. From the bud, a golden flower stem emerges, adorned with smaller diamonds and pearls. At the top of the scepter, a larger flower head is formed, also set with diamonds and pearls. Overall, the scepter is a masterpiece of French Renaissance design, combining the elegance and sophistication of the courtly style with the opulence and extravagance of the Bourbon monarchy. The Bourbon dynasty was one of the most powerful royal houses in Europe during the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods. The family's motto, Lekemich im Arsch, meaning Lekemi in the Arsch, reflected their aggressive and domineering nature. Their emblem was a fleur-de-lis, which symbolized their wealth and power. But perhaps even more significant was their crest, a golden crown superimposed over 3 ostrich feathers, representing courage, faith, and justice. The Bourbon kings were known for their lavish lifestyle and extravagant tastes. They commissioned some of the finest jewelry and other luxury items, setting the latest fashion trends and solidifying their status as some of the wealthiest and most influential people in Europe. While the Bourbon dynasty produced many notable rulers, including King Louis XIV, considered the quintessential French monarch, the family also had its share of scandals and controversies. The extravagance and decadence of the court led to financial instability and social unrest, and the king's obsession with appearances and status often came at the expense of their subjects' well-being. Nonetheless, the Bourbon dynasty left an indelible mark on European history, and their legacy continues to be felt today. As mentioned earlier, portrait jewelry was a prominent feature of Renaissance and Enlightenment fashion. One notable example is the portrait pendant of Henry, Duke of Orleans. This exquisite piece was created in France around 1785 and is now part of the royal and noble collections at the Palace of the Grand Master in Valletta. The pendant is made of gold and enamel and depicts a miniature portrait of the Duke. Henry, Duke of Orleans, was a member of the French Bourbon dynasty and governor of the French province of Orleans during the late 18th century. The pendant was likely commissioned by one of his admirers, or possibly even by Henry himself. He was known for his extravagant tastes and love of luxury items, so it's not surprising that he would have commissioned such a fine piece of jewelry. The portrait pendant is a stunning example of the Rococo style, a late Baroque and early neoclassical style that was popular in Europe during the 18th century. It's characterized by its delicate and playful aesthetic, often featuring pastel colors, intricate designs, and natural motifs like flowers and feathers. The pendant is also a testament to the skill and artistry of the jeweler who created it. The attention to detail in both the portrait and the setting is remarkable, and the piece as a whole is a beautiful example of the Rococo style at its finest. Speaking of the Rococo style, let's take a look at some more examples of its influence on jewelry. This pendant is made of gold and diamonds and features a central cabochon sapphire surrounded by smaller diamonds. The pendant hangs from a gold chain and is designed to be worn as a necklace. The Rococo style was particularly popular in France, and this pendant is a prime example of its influence on jewelry design. The delicate chain and the use of soft pastel colors create a sense of lightness and playfulness, while the intricate design and high-quality gemstones add a touch of luxury and sophistication. The Rococo style's emphasis on ornamentation and frivolity is evident in the use of lace and shell motifs, as well as the overall design of the pendant. The central sapphire is framed by smaller diamonds that resemble icicles, or perhaps even drops of water sparkling on a summer's day. This pendant is not just a beautiful piece of jewelry, but also a reflection of the cultural and artistic trends of the time. Another standout piece of jewelry from the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods is the diamond ring presented to Napoleon Bonaparte's first wife, Josephine. This ring was a gift from Napoleon's mother, Letitia, and was intended to symbolize the union between her son and his new bride. The ring is made of gold and features a large pear-shaped diamond surrounded by smaller diamonds in a halo setting. The design is a beautiful example of the neoclassical style, which was popular in Europe during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Neoclassical jewelry often featured simple, elegant designs inspired by ancient Greek and Roman art. The use of geometric shapes, such as the square and the circle, was common, as well as motifs like laurel leaves and other symbols of victory. In this ring, the pear-shaped diamond is a nod to the classical tradition of using precious stones to symbolize beauty and perfection. The smaller diamonds in the halo setting add a touch of sparkle and glamour without overwhelming the center stone. Overall, the ring is a stunning example of the neoclassical style and a beautiful reminder of the power of family and tradition. This ring was an important part of Napoleon and Josephine's wedding ceremony. According to tradition, the bride's mother was supposed to give her a wedding ring, and this particular ring was chosen for its size and quality. After Napoleon and Josephine were married, the ring became a symbol of their union and was worn by Josephine on her right hand. While the marriage between Napoleon and Josephine eventually ended in divorce, the ring remained an important part of Napoleon's family history and was passed down to his descendants. Today, it's on display at the Musée de l'Armée in Paris, where it's a popular attraction for visitors from around the world. So there you have it. Just a small sampling of the amazing jewelry that was created during the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods. These pieces are not just beautiful examples of craftsmanship and artistry, but also important historical artifacts that tell us about the people who wore them and the cultures in which they lived. If you enjoyed learning about these pieces, stay tuned for more videos about the history of jewelry. And if you want to learn more about the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods, check out our other videos on those topics as well. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we talk about jewelry history, starting with the Baroque era and its little baby brother, the Rococo era. I am so excited because I have some pretty spectacular pieces to show you guys today. And since this was an era of excess, we're gonna do things a little differently. Instead of just talking about 10 pieces, I found 13 pieces that really represent the Baroque and Rococo eras well. So we're going to do 13 today. If you like what we do here, please subscribe down below. If not, I totally understand. You can also leave a thumbs down if you want. But regardless, thank you for watching. Now let's get into it. Number 13. the Mughal pearl. Now, if there's one thing that screams Baroque more than anything else, it is definitely the pearl. In particular, one specific type of pearl that was very popular in the late 17th century, early 18th century, and that was the Baroque pearl. These were irregular shaped pearls, which, at the time, weren't really accepted. Pearls were supposed to be perfectly round, and when these came out, they were considered kind of ugly. But they grew on people. They became very popular. People loved them, and they were even said to be healthier for you. That's right. There was a fad that pearls could actually prevent migraines and cure illnesses, which sounds completely absurd now. But at the time, people thought that was true. And since these were ugly, irregular-shaped pearls, they had to make up for it with size. They would grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and the biggest one ever recorded was actually purchased by Queen Mary II of England. It weighed over 300 carats. That's over 60 grams. It's like holding a nugget of pure gold. Can you imagine? No. 12 brooch with spinel and pearls. All right. So this brooch is from the Bourbon dynasty. It's named after the Bourbon dynasty, because the Bourbon family loved using spinel and pearls together. This brooch also has a portrait of Marie de Medici. She was the mother of Louis XIV, King Louis XIV, and she was a big fashion icon during her time. She started the trend of putting perfume on your fingertips. That was quite popular. I don't know how practical that was, but hey, I guess if you wanted to smell good, why not put perfume on your fingers and then touch everything? Number 11. Now this aigrette is from the French Revolution period, but it still follows a lot of the rules of Rococo design, which is why I included it. It has lots of pearls, you have sprays of pearls, you have the diamond spray in the center, and you also have wheat stalks, which were very popular during the French Revolution. They symbolized liberty and democracy. And that's because wheat was one of the first crops that was grown freely by the peasants. So it kind of represented their newfound freedom. Also, the color white was also significant because it used to only be worn by the nobility and royalty. So, for a commoner to start wearing white, that was also a sign of revolution. No. 10. Natural pearl necklace. This necklace belonged to Napoleon's second wife, Marie Louise of Austria. It has natural pearls, which was really the height of fashion at the time. Again, they had to be big, showy, extravagant. And look at this amazing clasp. It's a gold clasp set with diamonds and rubies and I'm so sorry it's a little blurry, but it's just such a cool design. You see the ribbon tied around it, and that was something that was very important to the Austrians. That was their symbol, was the ribbon. And that's because in the Spanish royal family, when Charles II of Spain married Marie Louise of Austria, they combined their symbols together, the double-headed eagle and the ribbon. Number 9. Diamond earrings. These earrings once belonged to two different women, but they were both owned by the same family. They were owned by Mary, Queen of Scots, and then later by her daughter-in-law Anne of Denmark. These are also known as button earrings. And you'll notice that they're heart-shaped, and that was very typical of the style at the time. Also, the diamond cuts. They're older cuts. They're not the newer brilliant cuts that we have today, and instead they're cut in a rose cut, meaning that they're cut in a little flower shape. The petals of the flower are actually where the light comes through, and so it refracts the light in a slightly different way than it does on modern diamonds. Number 8. Gold and enamel snuff box. Now this snuff box is made of gold and enamel, and it's decorated with diamonds and pearls. It's just so extra. It's so crazy. Look at it. Can you imagine sitting down to have tea and taking out your snuff box and opening it and seeing this inside? Wow. What's also interesting about it is that the woman who owned it Her name was Madame de Pompadour, and she was the mistress of King Louis XV. And apparently she was so beloved by the king that he had this special snuff box made for her. The image on the top is actually the image that's on the Order of St. Michael, which was one of the highest orders of knighthood at the time. Number 7. Pearl and Diamond Tiara. So this tiara was made for an opera singer by the famous jeweler Malario. And, you know, I think tiaras are absolutely beautiful. This one especially with the pearls and the diamonds. It just looks so vintagey. It looks so old school. And the design on the base is just gorgeous. It looks like there's vines or leaves or something going around it. It's just so beautiful. Number 6. The stomacher. Alright, so this was actually part of a larger ensemble. It was part of a necklace and earrings and a stomacher that all went together, and the entire set was gifted to Napoleon by the city of Paris. It was made by the jeweler, and the design is based off of the Roman goddess of victory, which is fitting because Napoleon liked to refer to himself as the first consul, and so it is kind of like this parallel between the Roman Empire and his new empire that he was creating. But it's so funny, because when he was given this, he ended up selling it right away to pay off his debts. He had a lot of debt, and so he was like, I gotta get rid of this. And Marie-Louise, his wife, was not happy about it. She was furious. She was like, what are you doing? Don't sell it. But he needed the money and he sold it. And then he lost the war and went to exile and never saw the jewels again. No. 5. Diamond and pearl necklace. Now this necklace was gifted to Napoleon by the city of Paris. It was made by a jeweler named Miller, and the necklace features the fleur-de-lis, which is the emblem of France. It's also got the Roman goddess of victory on it. So it's a lot of political symbolism in one necklace, and it goes to show you how much the city of Paris loved Napoleon. No. 4. So a chatelaine is basically a decorative chain that holds your keys, and this one is decorated with all sorts of fun little You've got a portrait, miniature of Marie Antoinette, you've got the sun, you've got the moon, you've got musical notes, and you've got a bunch of pearls. Now this one was actually made before the French Revolution, but similar ones were made afterwards. After the French Revolution, people were still carrying them, but they changed the iconography on them. Instead of having the sun and the moon, they would have the red cap that was synonymous with the French Revolution. Or they would have the oak and the ash tree, which represented liberty and democracy. No. 3. Pearl opera necklace. Now this opera necklace was owned by several famous beauties, including the famous Madame de Montespan, who was the mistress of King Louis XIV. And she was the mother of 7 of his children. She was also really big in fashion, and then it passed down to her daughter, the Marquise de Montespan, who was also the mistress of King Louis XV. So mother and daughter, both not sure what it was about the Montespan women, but you know, they knew how to catch a king's eye. Number 2. Portrait miniature. Now this portrait miniature was actually painted on ivory. It's of Marie, who was the wife of King Louis XVI. And it was actually painted by the most famous miniaturist of the time. The reason that I included it in this list is because people would wear these portrait miniatures on they'd wear them on their bracelets, they'd wear them on their necklaces. They were very popular, and this one is just a stunning example of one. And last but not least, our number 1 piece today is this gold box set with diamonds and pearls. This was once owned by Marie Antoinette and her daughter Marie Therese, and it's just so breathtaking. I mean, look at this. The detail, the diamonds, the pearls, the enamel work. It's just absolutely exquisite. So what did you guys think of today's video? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Hey, everyone. It's me here to talk about mourning jewelry through the ages. And today we are headed into the 19th century. The 19th century brings us the Industrial Revolution, which is going to completely change the way jewelry is produced and worn. This is also known as the Victorian era, after Queen Victoria of England. Her influence on fashion is so strong that this era of jewelry is often broken up into two halves. Victorian jewelry from 1837 to 1901 when she was alive, and then Edwardian jewelry from 1901 to 1910 under Edward VII. So let's get started. The first half of the 1800s saw the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution in Europe and North America. New technologies like steam power were driving incredible changes in how things were made and also how people lived. The world was becoming more urban, with massive cities developing around factories where people could work to make things on an assembly line. These new technologies also had a huge impact on jewelry making. Factories could now produce large quantities of goods quickly and cheaply. Jewelry items could be mass-produced and then finished by hand. One technique that jewelers began using was electroplating, where a thin layer of one metal could be bonded to another using electricity. This made it possible for cheaper base metals like iron or nickel to have the appearance of a more expensive metal like gold or silver. But it also allowed jewelers to plate less expensive metals with rare and costly metals like platinum or gold, which was perfect for creating intricate designs that would normally be too expensive otherwise. This technique is what allowed companies like Tiffany & Co. to become so popular because they were producing these elaborate, almost architecturally inspired pieces that would have been impossible to do previously. Some of these designs were even created by famous architects of the time, like Louis Comfort. Another innovation of this period was the use of new materials like plastics. Celluloid, invented in 1862, was the first commercially successful plastic, and it was not long before jewelers were using these new materials to create cameos and other decorative items. And of course, there was the innovation of new precious metals, like the alloy of metals known as gold-filled, which is still around today. All these new materials and techniques allowed jewelers to experiment with different looks, and gave rise to the many sub-styles within Victorian jewelry. Early Victorian jewelry was heavily influenced by Romanticism, a cultural movement that emphasized emotion, individualism, and a fascination with the past. There was a revival of interest in medieval and Greek styles, as well as a renewed appreciation for nature and the exotic. These influences can be seen in jewelry of the period with its flowing lines, natural motifs, and historical references. Hair work was also extremely popular during this time. It was common for people to wear jewelry made from their own hair or the hair of a loved one as a symbol of remembrance and mourning. Speaking of mourning, this is probably the most well-known aspect of Victorian jewelry. In the 1800s, death was a much more common experience, and people found many ways to cope with grief. Wearing mourning jewelry was one of those ways, and there were strict rules on what was appropriate to wear at different stages of the mourning process. After someone died, it was customary for the widow to enter a period of formal mourning. That lasted for 2 years. During this time, she would wear the deepest black clothing and only attend to serious business matters. For men, the mourning period was only a few weeks to a few months, and they were expected to wear a black armband or a black bow tie during this time. The type of jewelry worn during this period depended on the length of time since the death. Within the first week, only jet or other dark-colored stones were worn to symbolize the depths of one's grief. Jet was a particularly popular material for mourning jewelry because it was a black, lightweight and inexpensive. It was commonly carved into cameos or used as inlays in rings. Other materials used for mourning jewelry included mother of pearl, onyx, obsidian, and even bone. Hairwork was also extremely popular during this time and was often incorporated into mourning jewelry. People would send off for special kits to create these pieces, and they were also sold in specialty shops in larger cities. Later in the mourning period, as the grief began to lift, more colorful stones could be worn, but still mostly in low settings, so as not to draw too much attention. Even after the official mourning period ended, people would sometimes continue to wear smaller, more understated pieces to remember their loved ones. As we move through the second half of the century, we start to see some of the sub-styles emerge. The first half of the century was heavily influenced by the Romanticism movement, but as the century progressed, there was a shift towards realism. This was partly due to the impact of the French Revolution of 1848, which had a major impact throughout Europe. There was a renewed focus on the scientific method and a rejection of the more emotional and idealistic views of Romanticism. This is reflected in the jewelry of the period with its more realistic and detailed designs. In the 1850s, there was a revival of interest in the arts and culture of ancient Egypt and the Middle East. This was partly due to the discovery of King Tut's tomb in 1922, which had been lost to the world for thousands of years. This fascination with all things Egyptian led to a surge in popularity of jewelry featuring scarab beetles, hieroglyphics, and other Egyptian-inspired motifs. These pieces were often made in gold and enamel and were highly collectible today. Another trend of the 1850s was the use of cameos and other types of carved pierre-to-deux. Cameos were particularly popular and were often set in elaborate gold or silver mounts. The most highly prized cameos were those made from antique cameos, which were usually much smaller than modern ones. In the 1860s, there was a growing interest in the arts and crafts movement, which emphasized the importance of handmade goods and traditional craftsmanship. This was in response to the mass production and industrialization of the Victorian era. As a result, jewelry from this period often features more intricate and detailed designs, as well as a greater use of natural materials. In the 1870s, there was a renewed interest in the past, particularly the Victorian era. This was partly due to the publication of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol in 1843, which had a major impact on how people viewed the holiday season. The story is set in London during the Victorian era and features many of the sights and sounds of the time, including the caroling of children. As a result, jewelry from this period often features designs inspired by the past, such as cameos and other types of antique-inspired jewelry. The last decades of the century saw a lot of change and upheaval, including the American Civil War, the French Revolution of 1848, the Spanish-American War, and the beginning of World War. All these events had a major impact on the jewelry of the time, and it is not uncommon to find pieces that commemorate these events. The jewelry of this period is often more patriotic in nature, featuring designs that celebrate the strength and courage of the human spirit. After Queen Victoria died in 1901, her son Edward VII became king, and a new style of jewelry emerged, known as Edwardian jewelry. The main difference between Victorian and Edwardian jewelry is the use of color. While Victorian jewelry was often more muted in its color palette, Edwardian jewelry embraced brighter and more colorful stones. This is reflected in the types of jewelry that were popular during this time, such as the Art Deco style, which features bold geometric designs and vibrant colors. Other popular styles include Nouveau Riche, which features flowing lines and floral motifs, and the more dainty and feminine designs of the Gibson Girl look. These styles were worn by the upper classes, who had the money to spend on fine jewelry, but they were also adapted for the masses through the use of less expensive materials like costume jewelry. So that was a quick overview of mourning jewelry from the Victorian and Edwardian eras. What did you think? Did you learn anything new? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to learn more about mourning jewelry, check out my complete guide linked below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. From 1890 to 1930, the world experienced a revolution in decorative arts, a movement away from the fussy, ornate nature of Victorian design to something clean, modern, and infused with the machine age. Today, we're going to explore how this transition from Art Nouveau to Art Deco affected jewelry design, what it meant for enamel work, and why platinum suddenly became so popular. Hello and welcome to my channel. It's me. And today I'm going to teach you about the transition from Art Nouveau to Art Deco design. This was an era when artists rebelled against the strict rules of traditional fine art. Instead of copying nature, they were inspired by it. Artists also introduced their own personal flair into their work and often signed their pieces. Before that, most fine art was unsigned. These days, if you see a piece of jewelry with a signature on it, there's a good chance it was made during this time period. Art Nouveau is French for new art. It was a reaction against the highly polished, overly ornate styles of the Victorian era. Art Nouveau jewelry was influenced by the natural world. We see lots of flowers, vines, and free-flowing lines. The pieces tend to be one-of-a-kind, handcrafted works of art. Enamelers pushed the boundaries of their craft with abstract designs that played with color and texture. They used bright, saturated colors, and instead of painting individual petals or leaves, they would paint clumps of flowers or grasses all at once. They also used the technique where the enamel flows over the prongs of the stones. This technique is called Florentine gold in Italy, where it originated. But during the Art Nouveau period, jewelers like René Lalique and Paul Farnham popularized it in France and America. Enamel work became so important to the overall design that jewelers would actually build stones into the enamel. Sometimes they would hollow out parts of the enamel after it was fired, then fill those voids with stones. Enameling was seen as a low art form by many, because it could be mass-produced. For example, these two little plaques are both signed by the same artist, Paulding Finn. The one on the left was done with the aid of a pantograph, a mechanical device that allows you to trace around an image to make multiple copies. The pantograph is clearly shaky, but that just adds character to the piece. The one on the right is completely freehand and shows a much more skilled artist at work, while the plaque on the left took only hours to create. The one on the right probably took days, yet the plaque with the mechanical copies sold for almost double the money at auction. These days, enamel is rarely used in fine jewelry, so the work of these artists is quite collectible. In fact, this brooch by Paulding Farnham sold for over $26,000 at auction. Another American enameler, Margaret de Patton, worked during the Art Deco period. She was known for her colorful abstract designs. Her work was displayed in major exhibitions alongside other prominent artists of the day. Her enamel pieces brought in about 10 times their estimated auction. This is definitely a case where being associated with the right style helped to increase the value of the piece. When we think of Art Deco jewelry, we think of geometric precision, strong graphic shapes, platinum, and black onyx. But did you know that Art Deco was a global phenomenon? Just look at this pendant by London jeweler. The pendant looks very Art Deco until you realize that it contains elements of Japanese woodblock print. The model's hair even appears to be made up of hieroglyphics. This kind of mashup is typical of the fusion of styles that occurred during this era. Speaking of platinum, it was first introduced to the US market in 1897 by Tiffany & Co. Platinum is naturally white, so it didn't require the extra steps of dipping it in gold or silver to make it appear white. This made it popular among wealthy women who wanted their diamonds to appear whiter than white gold could be. And then Coco Chanel showed up wearing a platinum engagement ring and sent the demand for platinum through the roof. Although it was an expensive metal, its value was surpassed by its rarity. By the 1920s, everyone who was anyone was wearing platinum, and then suddenly it disappeared. The reason for platinum's disappearance has to do with World War II. During the war, platinum was considered a strategic material. Its high melting point made it perfect for crucibles used in the refining process of other metals. In fact, the United States government confiscated almost every ounce of platinum in the country to use as an industrial material. Once the war was over, platinum returned to the jewelry market. It had been out of the spotlight for so long that people forgot how to work with it. Luckily, some things never go out of style. And since then, platinum has remained one of the most luxurious materials in jewelry. Another material that changed hands during the war was diamonds. Suddenly, the supply of diamonds coming from South Africa dried up, and the price of diamonds soared. The diamond companies jumped at this opportunity to promote lab-grown diamonds. They paid huge sums of money to celebrities like Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor to wear their fake diamonds on the red carpet. The next style we're going to discuss is Art Deco. Art Deco was born in Paris in the early 1900s. It evolved from the earlier style known as Japanese, which was heavily influenced by Japanese art. Art Deco was also greatly influenced by Cubism, which was an art movement started by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque. They broke objects down into geometric shapes and then reassembled them on the canvas. As you can see, the influence of Cubism is clear in Art Deco jewelry. The Art Deco movement encompassed more than jewelry. It influenced fashion, architecture, furniture, glass, ceramics, and product design. It was international in scope, crossing national boundaries and socio-economic classes. There were Art Deco posters in subway stations and on the sides of buildings. An Art Deco skyscraper is instantly recognizable with its setbacks and stepped form. During the Art Deco period, jewelry became smaller and more compact. The focus was no longer on precious stones, but on the skill of the jeweler. This is particularly evident in the trend of the time called gemming. Gem encrusting involved taking small stones and setting them close together, sometimes touching, to form an image. These types of necklaces were extremely labor-intensive to make and required skilled craftsmanship. They were also very expensive to buy, and only the wealthiest could afford them. But the trend trickled down to less expensive materials. Instead of diamonds, costume jewelry was encrusted with rhinestones and muck. Today, we take it for granted that we can buy fine jewelry or costume jewelry at a moment's notice. But back in the Art Deco days, it was a real adventure to find unique pieces. Department stores began offering jewelry as a way to attract customers. They needed to make these pieces quickly and in large quantities to meet demand. The solution was to replace precious gemstones with paste, a type of glass that mimics the appearance of a diamond. Paste is made by taking silica, lead oxide, and potash and melting them together. The resulting glass is highly refractive, which gives it the sparkle of a diamond. The department store Jonting, in business since 1898, purchased their paste from a French company called Batch & C. One day, while visiting the factory, the owner realized that the workers were using the same techniques to cut and polish paste as they were for diamonds. He asked them why they bothered cutting and polishing the paste, since no one could really tell the difference. The workers replied, "We cut it for you, but we keep the best stones for ourselves." The owner went back to New York and started selling diamonds instead of paste. Business boomed. Let's take a closer look at some beautiful Art Deco pieces. This brooch is by the famous jeweler. It features a central emerald surrounded by diamonds and platinum. Emeralds are very rare and valuable, so it's likely that this brooch cost tens of thousands of dollars. At first glance, this brooch looks like a mass-produced piece of costume jewelry. A closer look reveals a brilliant array of rhinestones and seed pearls. This type of work is consistent with the output of the era's top costume jewelry makers, Miriam Haskell and Kenneth J. Lane. These brooches sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. I hope that you enjoyed learning about the Art Nouveau and Art Deco periods. I'll be teaching about additional periods in future videos. If you want to learn more about jewelry history, check out my jewelry history playlist. Thanks for watching. See you next time. We've made it to the last period of jewelry history, which is your mid-20th century to contemporary design. So sit back, relax, enjoy. So in order to get an idea of where we are now, let's look at some of the important things that happened between then and now. The first thing that really defined this time was the Second World War. And of course, there were many repercussions of this. But what people realized was life was pretty fragile, and they started to embrace new ideas. It was no longer taboo for women to have shorter hair or to wear pants. They were driving cars, they were working in factories, and they were traveling more. And because of all this, jewelry had to adapt to their lifestyle. Another big change during this time was a cultural shift towards revival. People looked back at historic periods for inspiration, whether it was ancient Egypt, Greece or Rome, the Middle Ages, the Victorian period, or the Rococo period. There was also an appreciation for different cultures around the world, which resulted in a lot of jewelry houses appropriating motifs from other cultures. This was especially true for Cartier, who took a lot of inspiration from different cultures around the world, and even used precious stones as a way to pay tribute to specific countries. The big avant-garde jewelers of this time really changed how we perceive jewelry. They turned jewelry into sculpture. They put it on pedestals. Some of them included names like Verdiera, La Cloche, Belparan, Joel Roche, Godot, Klemenko, and Boyvat. But perhaps one of the most influential jewelers of this time was Raymond Temple. He started working with unusual color combinations, geometric shapes, and oversized cocktail rings, and he really paved the way for the future of jewelry design. Let's talk about the big jewelry houses. Let's start with Cartier. During this time, Cartier became very successful. They opened their first boutique in the United States in 1909, and by 1913, they had become the official jeweler of England. When King Edward VII chose Cartier to make his wedding gift to Mary of Teck. When Louis XV came into power, Cartier designed the iconic panther brooch for him. Cartier was also known for their beautiful colored stone jewelry, and in 1948 they released their first watch strap made out of leather instead of metal. After World War II, Cartier redesigned their logo to be sans serif and more modern, and in 1964 they created the Panther bracelet watch, which is still one of their flagship products today. Bulgari was another house that found success during this time. Their signature style was very different from They embraced the maximalist aesthetic, lots of colors, lots of different shapes, and really pushed the boundaries when it came to precious stones. During this time, they introduced colored diamonds into fine jewelry, which was very controversial at the time, but now colored diamonds are very popular. They also released their first watch in 1948. After World War II, they expanded internationally and opened their first store in Switzerland. In the 1960s, they started experimenting with different materials like resin and plexiglass, and in 1972, they acquired the biggest emerald in the world, the Muso Emerald, which weighed almost 19 pounds. Tiffany & Co. was founded in 1837. But they really found success during this period. In 1948, they released their first diamond engagement ring, which really influenced the trends for the rest of the world. Audrey Hepburn wore a Tiffany diamond in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, which really catapulted them into They continued to acquire some of the most famous diamonds in the world, like the Hope Diamond, the Blue Moon Diamond, and the Tiffany Diamond. They also introduced the Key to the City pendant, which is still one of their best sellers today. Other designers of this time experimented with different materials. For example, there was a French designer named Roger Thomas who worked with epoxy resins. He created these colorful, abstract pieces that were very popular among celebrities and royalty. Then there was Raymond M. Weil, who incorporated mother of pearl into their designs and really created these feminine, colorful pieces. And speaking of colored stones, during this time, colored stones really came into prominence. Designers started using semi-precious stones alongside precious stones to create more affordable options. They also started really appreciating colored diamonds. In fact, in 1958, Bulgari released a colored diamond necklace. These colored diamonds were recut so that they looked more brilliant than the standard colorless diamonds, and that really sparked interest in colored diamonds. Now colored diamonds are really appreciated for their unique beauty and rarity. After World War II, another trend that really emerged was personalization. People wanted their jewelry to reflect their individual personalities, and they also wanted their initials on it. So jewelry houses started to offer engraving services, and this really gave birth to the trend of personalized jewelry. There was also a huge influence of Hollywood on jewelry during this time. Many actresses were considered style icons, and in 1948, the Academy Awards for Best Actress was sponsored by Tiffany & Co. until 1973, and every winner received a diamond pendant from Tiffany. The last part of the 20th century brought many changes to the jewelry world. We saw the rise of costume jewelry made out of plastic and metal, but it was only seen as a cheap imitation of fine jewelry. However, at the end of the 20th century, it was rebranded as fashion jewelry, and now it's really embraced as its own category. We also saw the rise of vintage jewelry during this time. People started to appreciate antique jewelry, and they were buying it for less money than it was originally sold. Today, vintage jewelry is a billion-dollar industry, but before we get into contemporary jewelry, we have to talk about the hippie era, which started in the 1960s. And this was really a reaction against the upper-class society. Hippies rejected traditional values, and they also rejected traditional jewelry. Instead, they preferred to wear more natural materials, like wood, leather, beads, and feathers. And they also really liked turquoise and other ethnic-inspired jewelry. Another important event that shaped the jewelry world was the discovery of Los Medulas in Spain in 1960. This was the largest gold mine in the Roman Empire, and it really influenced jewelry makers to start using gold in their work. In the 1980s, we saw a shift towards minimalism and geometric shapes and designs. Designers like David Webb, who was an American designer, were really popular during this time. He designed very clean, minimal pieces that really reflected the times. The 1990s brought a lot of experimentation with materials. Designers were playing with titanium, stainless steel, plexiglass, and even rubber. And we also saw the rise of unisex jewelry during this time. Now, let's talk about some contemporary designers who are shaping the world of jewelry today. Let's start with Messika. This is a French jewelry house founded in 1995 by Valérie Messika. Her pieces are known for being very elegant and sophisticated with a modern twist. She often uses diamonds and precious metals, and her designs are very wearable. Another brand to know is Suzanne Kalan. She's an American jeweler who's known for her colorful designs. She really embraces the use of colored stones, and she often incorporates them into her pieces. She is also known for her signature baguette-cut diamonds, which she uses to create unique and eye-catching designs. Then we have Solange. She's a French jewelry designer who's known for her very distinctive and avant-garde designs. She really pushes the boundaries when it comes to jewelry design. And she's not afraid to experiment with different materials and shapes. Then there's Marina B. She's an Italian jeweler who's known for her very glamorous and feminine designs. She often uses diamonds and precious metals, and her pieces are really meant to be statement pieces. Then we have Irene New. She's an Austrian-American jewelry designer who's known for her very colorful and playful designs. She really embraces the use of colored stones, and she often incorporates them into her pieces. Then we have Ram. This is a jewelry house that was founded in 1983 by Ram. It's a family business, and they're known for their very elegant and sophisticated designs. They often use diamonds and precious metals, and their pieces are really timeless. Then we have Pomellato. This is an Italian jewelry house that was founded in 1967 by Pino and Ludovico. Pomellato is known for their very colorful and playful designs. They really embrace the use of colored stones, and they often incorporate them into their pieces. And finally, let's talk about Harry Winston. This is a jewelry house that was founded in 1948 by Harry Winston. It's a family business, and they're known for their very elegant and sophisticated designs. They often use diamonds and precious metals, and their pieces are really meant to be investment pieces. Today, there are a lot of changes happening in the jewelry world. There's a bigger focus on ethical sourcing and sustainability. And we also see a lot of designers experimenting with new materials and technologies. There is also a bigger focus on personalization and customization. And we see a lot of designers offering made-to-order pieces. There is also a bigger focus on transparency, and a lot of designers are disclosing where their stones come from and how they resourced. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Today we are going to talk about the psychology behind jewelry. What our jewelry says about us, what we think it says about us, and what we want it to say about us. And this is in line with an ongoing series that I'm doing about symbols and symbolism, where each week we explore a different symbol and what it means across cultures and throughout history. If you haven't seen the rest of them yet, make sure you check them out. So I was given a piece of jewelry when I was 18 years old by my grandfather on my 18th birthday. It's a signet ring. It has the family crest on it, and it's been passed down for generations. You put it on your pinky finger, and it is supposed to keep the evil eye away from you. And so it's sort of a talisman against bad luck. And it's interesting because even though I don't really believe in any of that stuff, I still wear it when I go do something important. Like if I'm going to give a big presentation or something like that, I will wear that ring to give myself sort of a lucky charm or just to remember my grandpa. And I think that idea of connecting objects with emotion is something that happens a lot with jewelry. And the reason for that is that jewelry is worn on the body, and that creates a very intimate connection between the object and the person wearing it. In fact, they were some of the earliest pieces of clothing that humans wore. And today we still see jewelry being used as a way to mark important occasions. We give jewelry as gifts for birthdays and anniversaries and graduations and other major life moments, and we use it as a way to tell stories about ourselves. Our engagement or wedding rings, for example, say that we are in a relationship, and they often also tell us something about the relationship itself. Like engagement and wedding rings have been mandated by law in many places to have a plain gold band to indicate that it is a genuine ring. But these days there are many different styles of jewelry that can signify that someone is taken. We also use jewelry to represent our identity, both personally and politically. Think about all the different ways that people use necklaces and bracelets and earrings to represent their favorite bands or sports teams or schools. Even things like a belly button ring or a tattoo ring is a way to signify that you were part of a certain counterculture movement at one point in time. Or how many people continue to wear a class ring or a high school ring long after they've left those institutions? Sometimes we use it to express our faith, like a cross necklace or a Jewish chai necklace, and sometimes we use it to represent our heritage, like a Celtic bracelet or an Irish necklace or something like that. In fact, jewelry has become such an important way to tell stories that there are now companies that allow you to design your own jewelry with whatever images you want on it, so that you can sort of tell your own story through that jewelry. You can make it about your family or your friends or your experiences or wherever you grew up or whatever you love, whatever brings you joy. And that idea of joy is another reason that we wear jewelry. Many people wear jewelry because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel confident, beautiful, sexy. And the good feeling that jewelry gives us is probably connected to the fact that jewelry often catches the light, and shiny things catch the light and reflect the light tend to symbolize wealth and power. This is why tiaras are often made of diamonds. Diamonds are the hardest natural substance on Earth, which makes them rare and valuable and expensive. And they also catch the light really well, which makes them seem even more special. This is also why a lot of crowns are made of gold, another precious metal that is rare and valuable and symbolizes wealth and power. And that is probably also why, for many people, the most special pieces of jewelry are the ones that have been handed down to them from previous generations. They come with a family story, and they symbolize not only wealth and power, but also legacy and tradition. For example, I have a locket that was given to my mother by her grandmother, which makes it to generations before me, and inside the locket is a picture of my great-great-grandmother. And then on the back it has the date of her death, so it's a way to remember someone who I never knew, but who obviously played an important role in my mother's life. And this idea of remembering is actually another important function of jewelry. People often turn to jewelry to remember loved ones who have passed away. They might wear a necklace with a pendant that has the initial of the person they lost, or maybe a birthstone that corresponds with the month that they were born in, or maybe even a piece of jewelry that belonged to that person when they were alive. This is exactly what I do with my signet ring that I talked about earlier. I wear it when I am about to do something important to remember my grandpa and sort of feel connected to him in some way. And in fact, a lot of times jewelry is the only thing that we have that belonged to someone before us. When someone passes away, a lot of times everything else that belonged to them gets donated or thrown away or otherwise dispersed. But jewelry is so intimate and so personal that often it is the only thing that gets passed down. But jewelry can also be used to remember positive experiences. Think about a pair of earrings or a bracelet that you got while on vacation somewhere, or a necklace that reminds you of a special place that you visited or a meaningful experience that you had. Jewelry allows us to transport ourselves back to that time and place every time we put it on. And this is also why jewelry can be a great gift for someone. You choose a piece of jewelry that reminds you of the person that you're giving it to, or of the experience that you shared together, and this imbues the jewelry with extra meaning and value. The recipient will always be reminded of you every time they look at that piece of jewelry, and that is an incredibly powerful thing. And speaking of political movements, one last type of jewelry that I want to mention here is protest jewelry. Protest jewelry is used to make a political statement or to show solidarity with a certain cause or movement. One great example of this is the yellow ribbon. It first started as a symbol of support for the miners in the UK in 1984, and then it became popularized in Ukraine as a symbol of support for the country and the Ukrainian identity in the face of Russian aggression. And this solidarity bracelet is a great example of how jewelry can create a sense of community among people who are far away from each other. Now, when I see someone wearing a yellow ribbon, I know that they probably support Ukraine, even though I have no idea who they are or where they live. And this is a powerful thing that jewelry can do. It can unite people around a common cause or belief. I mean, think about the AIDS ribbon. It was created in 1986 as a way to raise awareness and money for AIDS research. And now it is a symbol of solidarity with those who are affected by HIV/AIDS. Or think about the pink ribbon. It was created in the early 1990s as a symbol of support for breast cancer research and awareness. These ribbons have become a ubiquitous sight at fundraising walks and runs, and they are a powerful reminder of the strength and resilience of those who are affected by these diseases. Jewelry can be a way to make a bold statement or a subtle one. It can be a way to tell the world who you are and what you believe in without saying a word. And this is incredibly powerful. The right piece of jewelry can make you feel confident, beautiful, sexy, joyful, connected to others. It can be a way to tell your story and the stories of those who came before you. It can be a way to make a political statement or show solidarity with a cause. So, I'd love to hear from you. What does jewelry mean to you? What pieces of jewelry do you have, and what do they say about you? Or if you don't wear jewelry, why don't you wear jewelry? And what do you think jewelry says about a person who doesn't wear jewelry? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. Special thanks to my supporters who help keep this channel going. If you'd like to support the channel too, please visit the links in the description below. As always, I hope you learned something new, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye! Jewelry in pop culture? It is no secret that jewelry can make an outfit feel complete or elevate it to the next level of fabulous. But when we think of some of the most iconic looks in pop culture history, from Lady Gaga's meat dress to iconic Bantu knots, one thing is for sure. They all have one thing in common. Statement jewelry. Today, we gonna be taking a deep dive into some of the most unforgettable jewelry moments in pop culture and how they made history. So, without further ado, let's get started. Coming up at number 17, we have Lil' Kim. The queen of hip-hop was not only responsible for paving the way for women in hip-hop, but she also had a major influence on the fashion and beauty trends of the 90s and early 2000s. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2000 Grammy Awards, where she wore a barely there black dress with diamond-encrusted pasties and matching underwear. The look was both sexy and subversive, and it definitely turned heads. When asked about the look years later, Lil' Kim said that she was just being herself, and that she didn't intend to cause a stir. But it's clear that her bold fashion choices helped to make her one of the most unforgettable performers of her generation. Number 16. We have Lady Gaga, known for her over-the-top style. Lady Gaga has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments. From her meat dress to her egg dress, the singer and actress has never been afraid to push the boundaries of what is considered fashionable. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards, where she wore a dress made entirely of meat. While some may have been confused by the look, others saw it as a commentary on the treatment of animals in the fashion industry. Love her or hate her, you have to admit that Lady Gaga isn't afraid to make a statement with her fashion choices. And that's why she's one of the most talked about celebrities in the world. Up next, at number 15, we have Zoe. The Big Little Lies star made heads turn at the 2021 Met Gala. when she wore a sheer Saint Laurent gown with chunky gold chains and layered necklaces. The look was both sexy and sophisticated, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Kravitz's stylist, Elizabeth Stewart, said that the look was inspired by the theme of the Met Gala, which was in America, a lexicon of fashion. "We wanted to do something that was very American," Stewart said. "Something with bling." And Zoe totally nailed it. Coming up at number 14, we have Beyoncé. When it comes to music, there are few artists who can match the talent and success of Beyoncé. But when it comes to fashion, Beyoncé is in a league of her own. The singer and actress is known for her incredible style, and she has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments throughout her career. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2003 MTV Video Music Awards, where she wore a gorgeous white dress with a plunging neckline and silver hoop earrings. The look was both elegant and sexy, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. But Beyoncé has made many unforgettable jewelry moments throughout her career. Number 13, we have Nicki Minaj. The rapper and singer has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2012 MTV Video Music Awards, where she wore a black leather dress with gold accents and jewels all over it. She accessorized with a gold crown and matching earrings, and the look was both fierce and feminine. It's no wonder that this look is still being talked about today. Number 12, we have Rihanna. The singer and actress has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments throughout her career. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2014 CFDA Fashion Awards, where she wore a stunning yellow gown with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both glamorous and sophisticated, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. But Rihanna has made many unforgettable jewelry moments throughout her career. From her iconic diamond-studded denim jacket to her bedazzled, the singer is not afraid to experiment with jewelry, and she always looks amazing. Coming up at number 11, we have Cardi B. The Bodak Yellow rapper has made a name for herself, not only with her amazing music, but also with her incredible style. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2019 Met Gala, where she wore a gorgeous red gown with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both glamorous and sophisticated, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Cardi B accessorized her look with a sleek red lip and a diamond-studded clutch, and she looked like a true superstar. Number 10. We have the Euphoria. Actress Zendaya made heads turn at the 2019 Venice Film Festival when she wore a stunning silver gown with a plunging neckline and matching earrings. The look was both elegant and sexy, and it was definitely one of the best of the festival. Zendaya accessorized her look with a sleek ponytail and a diamond-studded belt, and she looked like a true goddess. Coming up at number 9, we have Lizzo. The singer and rapper has made a name for herself, not only with her amazing music, but also with her incredible style. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2019 BET Awards, where she wore a gorgeous purple gown with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both glamorous and sophisticated, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Lizzo accessorized her look with a sleek, high ponytail and a diamond-studded purse, and she looked like a true queen. Number 8. We have Billie. The singer-songwriter has made a name for herself, not only with her amazing music, but also with her unique style. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2021 Grammy Awards, where she wore a gorgeous black gown with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both elegant and edgy, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Billie Eilish accessorized her look with a slick low ponytail and a diamond-studded clutch, and she looked like a true superstar. Number 7. We have Miley Cyrus. The singer and actress has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments throughout her career. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards, where she wore a sexy black dress with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both glamorous and sophisticated, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Miley Cyrus accessorized her look with a sleek, high ponytail and a diamond-studded purse, and she looked like a true goddess. Coming up at No. 6, we have Madonna. The Queen of Pop has been influencing fashion for decades, and one of her most iconic looks was at the 1991 MTV Video Music Awards, where she wore a dress with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both glamorous and sexy, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Madonna accessorized her look with a sleek, high ponytail and a diamond-studded purse, and she looked like a true superstar. Number 5 brings us back to Lady Gaga. Remember when Lady Gaga wore that meat dress to the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards? Well, the singer and actress has also made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2019 Oscars after party, where she wore a stunning pink gown with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both elegant and sexy, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. Gaga accessorized her look with a sleek, low ponytail and a pink diamond-studded clutch, and she looked like a true goddess. Number 4, we have Jennifer Lopez. The singer and actress has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments throughout her career. One of her most iconic looks was at the 2015 Grammys, where she wore a stunning white gown with a massive diamond necklace and matching earrings. The look was both glamorous and sophisticated, and it was definitely one of the best of the night. J.Lo accessorized her look with a sleek high ponytail and a white diamond-studded purse, and she looked like a true queen. Lil Wayne, the rapper and singer, has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments. One of his most iconic looks was at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards, where he wore a white suit with gold chains and layered neck. He accessorized with a gold belt and matching shoes, and the look was both stylish and sophisticated. It's no wonder that this look is still being talked about today. Number 2, we have Kanye West. The rapper and fashion designer has made some truly unforgettable jewelry moments. One of his most iconic looks was at the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards, where he wore a black suit with gold chains and layered necklaces. He accessorized with a gold belt and matching shoes, and the look was both stylish and sophisticated. It's no wonder that this look is still being talked about today. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Tupac. The rapper and actor was one of the most influential voices of his generation, and he was also a true style icon. One of his most iconic looks was at the 1996 MTV Video Music Awards, where he wore a black suit with gold chains and a pendant necklace. He accessorized with a gold belt and matching shoes, and the look was both stylish and sophisticated. But it was more than just his sense of style that made Tupac so unforgettable. His music and lyrics continue to inspire people around the world, and his legacy will live on forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and comment below which pop culture icon should be featured in our next video. Until then, stay tuned for more videos on your favorite topics. Have you ever seen a diamond so big it looks fake? This 1,107 carat diamond is the largest cut stone in the world, but it's not rare at all. In fact, it's lab grown. And if this sounds like science fiction to you, think again. Today, we are going to talk about how globalization and technological advances are changing the way we mine for bling. Lab-grown diamonds are becoming more and more popular as an alternative to mined diamonds. They're typically much cheaper than natural diamonds and have the same physical and chemical properties. But what about their provenance or origin story? How do you know where they came from or how they were made? The answer is blockchain. It's not just cryptocurrencies that can be tracked on a distributed public ledger. With blockchain, each diamond can have its own unique digital identity with information about its journey from the lab to your hand. For example, in 2018, Diamond Foundry partnered with IBM to launch a blockchain-based system for tracking diamonds. Each diamond is given a unique identifier when it is cut, and that information is stored on the blockchain. Consumers can then scan a tag on the diamond's packaging with their smartphones to access the information. One of those things is the diamond's origin story, which can include details about the people who cut and polished it, as well as the lab where it was made. In theory, this system makes it possible to verify the authenticity of lab-grown diamonds and build trust between consumers and retailers. But why would anyone want to buy a lab-grown diamond in the first place? Well, there are a few reasons. First, they're typically much cheaper than mined diamonds. A lab-grown diamond can cost up to 40% less than a mined diamond of the same size and quality. This is because lab-grown diamonds don't have to account for the costs associated with mining, such as the price of land and equipment or the wages of miners. Second, lab-grown diamonds are often more ethical than mined diamonds. Mined diamonds are often associated with conflict and human rights abuses. In an effort to address this issue, the United Nations has created the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme, which requires participating countries to certify that their diamonds are conflict-free. However, this scheme has been criticized for being ineffective. Lab-grown diamonds don't have these problems. They're produced in controlled laboratory conditions, so there's no risk of conflict or human rights abuses. Finally, lab-grown diamonds are better for the environment. Mining diamonds is a resource-intensive process that can damage local ecosystems. Lab-grown diamonds require less energy and produce less waste, making them a more sustainable option. Whether you're concerned about the environment, human rights, or just want a good deal, lab-grown diamonds may be a great choice for you. So next time you're shopping for diamonds, be sure to ask whether they're lab-grown or mined. And if you want to learn more about lab-grown diamonds, visit our website. Okay, now let's move on to our next topic. Have you ever wanted to look at yourself while playing a video game? Maybe you're trying to check out your character's outfit or make sure your makeup is Well, soon you'll be able to do that thanks to wearable tech. Wearable tech is already huge. We're all used to seeing people wearing activity trackers, smartwatches, and even augmented reality glasses. But the next generation of wearable tech will allow us to interact with our devices in new ways. For example, imagine a pair of glasses that allowed you to see your character's outfit while playing a video game. Or how about a bracelet that lets you control your music? These devices aren't science fiction. They're already in development. One company working on wearable tech is Ringly, a New York-based startup that makes smart rings. Ringly's rings are designed to let users control their devices with a tap or a swipe. They work by connecting to a smartphone via Bluetooth and can be used to play, pause, or change the volume on music. They can also be used to control presentations or even drive a car. Ringly's technology could revolutionize the way we interact with our devices. Instead of fumbling with our phones or laptops, we can simply use our fingers or even our toes. This could be especially helpful for people with disabilities. For example, someone who is blind could use a ring to navigate using sound cues. Someone with limited mobility could use a ring to control their environment, such as their lights or thermostat. Another company working on wearable tech is Nreal, a French startup that makes augmented reality glasses. Nreal's glasses project information onto the user's field of vision, allowing them to see both the real world and virtual elements at the same time. This could be useful for a variety of tasks, such as navigation or language translation. Imagine being able to see turn-by-turn directions while driving, or seeing a real-time translation of a foreign language. Nreal's glasses could make this a reality. Of course, wearable tech is not without its critics. Some people worry that these devices are a sign of technology overtaking our lives. Others worry that wearable tech will become too invasive. For example, what if your employer started monitoring your every move through a wearable device? These are valid concerns. But it's important to remember that technology is always evolving. We have the opportunity to shape how wearable tech develops and to set the boundaries for how it can be used. Wearable tech is still in its early stages, but it has the potential to revolutionize the way we live and work. From smart rings to augmented reality glasses, the possibilities are really endless. Okay, now let's move on to our next topic. You've probably seen the movie Ready Player One, which is set in a future where people escape to a virtual world called the Oasis. In the film, the main character uses a virtual reality headset to interact with other people in the Oasis. This is already possible today with devices like the Oculus Rift or HTC Vive. But what about jewelry? What if you could wear jewelry that looked just as good in the real world as it did in a virtual world? This is the idea behind a new line of smart jewelry that can be worn in virtual reality. The jewelry is equipped with sensors that can detect changes in the wearer's environment and translate them into visual and haptic feedback. For example, the jewelry could vibrate when the wearer is near an object of interest or glow different colors depending on the time of day. But why would anyone want to wear smart jewelry in the first place? Well, there are a few reasons. First, it's a new way to interact with virtual environments. Instead of using controllers or a keyboard and mouse, the jewelry can provide a more immersive experience. Second, it's a new way to express yourself. Jewelry is a traditional form of self-expression, and smart jewelry can take this to a new level. The ability to change the jewelry's appearance or function on demand allows the wearer to show off their personal style. Finally, it's a new way to connect with other people. The jewelry can display social information such as the number of friends a user has, or the number of likes they've received. This can help users feel more connected to their friends and family while they're in virtual environments. Smart jewelry is still in its early stages, but it has the potential to revolutionize the way we interact with technology. From fitness tracking to self-expression, the possibilities are really endless. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and subscribe to our channel for more tech news. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and we have come to the end part of this video. In conclusion, we're diving into the fascinating world of ornaments. Specifically, the question of why we love to adorn ourselves with them. From the simplest of earrings to the most intricate necklaces, ornaments hold a special place in our lives. But have you ever stopped to think about why we adorn ourselves with these pieces? Why do we find joy in decking up with ornaments? Let's explore the reasons together. Ornaments are expressions of self-identity. They let us showcase our unique personalities and make a statement without saying a word. Whether it's a bold, chunky necklace that reflects your love for bold fashion, or delicate silver earrings that speak to your minimalist chic, each piece tells a story about who you are. Ornaments become a visual diary of sorts, chronicling your style journey and evolving tastes. They also serve as powerful tools for self-expression. During the Elizabethan era, for instance, extravagant jewelry was a symbol of wealth and power. In Victorian times, cameos and lockets were used to display mourning jewelry, which had a deep emotional meaning. Today, we have movements like the body art movement that uses ornaments as a form of self-expression and cultural identity. Think of the Maori tattoos and the significance they hold in their culture. Ornaments allow us to communicate our identity, beliefs, and values to the world around us. They are also deeply connected to our cultural heritage and traditions. Many cultures have ornaments that are not just beautiful accessories, but carry with them a rich cultural legacy. For example, the intricate gold jewelry of the Ashanti people in Ghana is not only stunning, but also tells the story of their history and craftsmanship. Similarly, the colorful beaded necklaces of the Himba women in Namibia are an integral part of their cultural identity. These ornaments serve as a link to our roots, allowing us to honor our ancestors and the traditions they passed down to us. Think about those special pieces in your own jewelry box. Are there any family heirlooms that have been passed down to you? How do they make you feel when you wear them? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Sustainability is another fascinating aspect of ornaments. Humans have been adorning themselves with ornaments since prehistoric times. From the use of natural materials like flowers and shells to the invention of more durable materials like stone and metal, our desire to adorn has remained constant. This innate human desire to decorate and accessorize is a testament to the universal appeal of ornaments. It's something that transcends time and cultural boundaries. As we look to the future of adornment, it's clear that ornaments will continue to play a significant role in our lives. With new technologies and sustainable practices, we can expect to see even more innovative and eco-friendly materials used in ornament making. The rise of online platforms has also made ornaments more accessible than ever before, allowing independent artists and designers to reach a global audience. This has led to a surge in unique and personalized ornaments that cater to all styles and preferences. In conclusion, the reasons we adorn ourselves with ornaments are as numerous and varied as the ornaments themselves. They are a way to express our individuality, tell our stories, and connect with our cultural heritage. Sustainability is woven into the very fabric of ornaments, reflecting our innate desire to beautify ourselves and as we move forward, I believe that ornaments will continue to evolve, incorporating new materials, technologies, and design elements while still retaining their timeless appeal. Thank you all for joining me on this journey through the world of ornaments. If you enjoyed this exploration as much as I did, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, may your days be filled with the beauty of adornment.